nation survive to honor the rights of the gay. Stand here beside us and take your place, Legionnaire. Whatever you play, our oath will remain the same. Legionnaires, you lift the standard, shoulder to shoulder we rise. With iron in our voice and light in our shield, we are one. From the page to the table, from the screen to the player's mind, Legion of Myth stands ready to headline. Legionnaires, you lift the standard, shoulder to shoulder we rise. With iron in our voice and light in our shield, we are one. From the page to the table, from the screen to the player's mind, Legion of Myth stands ready to headline. So let's have some fun. Answer the call. Subscribe and share. Answer the call.
Hello, Legionnaires, and welcome to episode 282 of Legion of Myth RPG Digest. I am John Max the Aushlow, your favorite curmudgeon, critic, and judge. Along with me, as usual, is the fourth mad passion, Brett. Heathen Dog, I can't even say his name. Grismer, what is good today, sir?
Happy Father's Day to everyone who is one of those things. First off, congratulations. You kept your child alive this long. Keep it up. You know, because you don't want to celebrate Not a Father Anymore Day. That sucks. You don't want that. I don't recommend it.
Or Fatherless Child Day.
Well, that's a lot of kids have that, which is sad.
But I mean, that's another way you could go with this.
Yeah, you don't want that either. Yeah, you don't want that either. Let's see, what else? Yeah, this week was regular, nothing super fancy. Oh, I screwed up my dentist appointment. I had it on the calendar as the day was told to me, and then like 2 days beforehand, they called me and changed it. I didn't update the calendar, so I missed it. So now I got to wait like 6 weeks to get another dental cleaning appointment. So that sucks, but yeah, it is what it is on that one. That's about it.
All right. My week has been rainy.
Yes, I heard flood warnings abound.
Yep. Today is the first day that it's not raining. I should be mowing my grass. Instead, I'm here.
You will after the stream. You'll mow your grass. Yes, you will. Yes, you will, because it's going to rain for the next 5 days, and then you have to take out a machete. You don't want that. You don't want that.
That might actually work.
It'll be fun, but it'll be very tiring and take a long time.
I need the workout.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, honestly, not much going on. As far as personal life goes, I can't think of anything exciting this week that I'm aware of. Wife had her birthday and made a bit of money off of Legion of Myth on Friday. And
one good thing.
What's that?
Your wife getting older is never a good thing.
Oh yeah. But you know what? You got money from it.
That's fair.
Guess the only other thing I can think of is I posted the pictures on Discord, but I got Robotech Tactics in, started to read it.
Yep.
So it's not BattleTech. It's actually very Palladium.
Well, one would hope.
Yeah, but I kind of thought it was like its own thing. Well, it is its own thing. I haven't read enough of it to know 100% for sure. But from the little bit that I've read so far, you may be able to integrate this into your Robotech campaign. Like, okay, kind of like Star Wars D6 has Star Warriors as like the tactical hex ship to ship game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll find out more as I actually dive into it. But it seems so far like theoretically you may be able to put this and use your characters and run it. It is more simplified, and so you don't need to do that. I'm just saying that I think you might be able to, but I'll find out. But
nice.
The big box for this book.
Yes, but it had
400 miniatures with it.
Yeah, all those miniatures. That if you're thinking about buying this, just realize that the miniatures aren't snapped together.
Where are you gonna buy it?
eBay.
Okay. There's no buying this. Not like that anyway. But yeah, eBay. I think Noble Knight has it too. But basically, you can get on the third-party market. Anyway, yeah, the other part about the miniatures is they're not just okay. There's your Valkyrie or whatever. It's like you have to have one miniature of a Valkyrie in Guardian mode. You have to have one miniature for Valkyrie and I don't know the Robotech terms. You're gonna get BattleTech terms from me. You need one in the aerospace mode, one in the lamb mode, and one in the robot mode. And those are three different miniatures.
Guardian and Battleoid.
Guardian Battleoid. Okay, that's so that's three miniatures for one character basically.
Yep.
You have to glue together and paint, and I probably won't paint. I'll get them glued together. Well, my wife will glue them together. She'll be the crafty person in this one. The only other real thing I have, well, I guess I can talk about what's upcoming. This week is the members only. Remember, folks, members only is a Q&A. It's actually an AMA. Ask us anything. This is your time. And I'm happy you're there to lurk. That's cool. But it's better if you're there to ask us questions.
Because then we have stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like
trying to find content for something that isn't supposed to be content or
it's
driven.
Hard. It's hard. About as hard as you'd think.
The 5th of July, Kevin and Sean will be back for the next Gamer Talk. The topics are already in place. We're going to talk about, and ask the question about how Rift's Earth basically gets resources, but we're gonna pair it. We're gonna talk about on a small scale, on a large scale, and then on like a city or state scale. We'll talk about that. And then the other one is how to play a quote unquote good coalition or Empire of Humanity character.
Easy. Play it how it's written.
No, that's not good, and you know that. That is not a good character in the sense of morality.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, current day morality.
Not even current day morality. That wouldn't.
Everything's bad.
That would not even current day morality.
Yeah.
Nobody looks at, no real people look at Nazis or communists because they're both the same thing, and says that's the good guy.
Again, it all depends on what you're comparing it against.
That's what they are. They're totalitarian Nazi/communists.
Compared to Uncertain Death, I don't know, man. Looks good.
Again, you're using rationalization that humans don't normally use. People aren't computers.
All right.
So no, they are evil. Even Kevin and Sean will say that they're evil. It's written that they're evil. However, even evil has its can have people within it. Because let's put it this way, and I know as soon as I say this name, they're like, "Oh my God," blah blah blah. But the video itself is good. Go watch a video out there by Jordan Peterson that says you would be a Nazi. This is why I fully understand. And if the coalition states were real and I was born where I live, well, not right now, but where I lived, where I grew up, I'd be a good little coalition soldier.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise I'd be eaten by bugs.
Yeah, it's either that or the bug food. That's it.
Well, there is another way I could have gone. Actually, I may have gone the other way. And then let's find out where would I be.
What, go to the Federation or Tolkien or whatever?
Tolkien's literally Twin Cities.
Yeah.
I am 15 minutes east of the Twin Cities so I'd probably actually be part of Tolkien.
All right.
Up where are they now?
It was raised, but yeah.
Yeah. So but anyway, my point has always been I understand why the coalition would exist. I understand why people would join it and maybe even go against their own morals. It's funny when people say, I would never do that. Very few people in this world when actually put under the duress. I'll give you a real world example right now, and you can show. And by the way, when you tell me the exceptions prove the rule in this case. How many kids join gangs because they have no other choice? Because the pressure around them literally forces them into it.
Or it's not even that. It's just the safest option.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
the pressure
being with a gang is safer in almost every respect than not joining any gang, because now you're fair game to everyone.
Right.
But if you join a gang, someone messes with you, then they got to deal with the gang. And they know that. You're actually safer in a gang, not in the long run, but in the short term, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all understandable. It doesn't make them good, but it makes it understandable. Now, would I join the coalition? Well, I'd love to sit here and be like, well, I live in Alabama now. Hell no, I wouldn't join the coalition. Then again, as Heathen Dog has said, maybe my morals slip a little bit and I look that way while things are going on. Well, I see the smokestacks burning some stuff over there that I'm sure it's just logs as I'm looking that way. Survival is a hell of a drug.
Human beings' morality is very flexible when faced with imminent or uncertain death.
Yep. Survival is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anywho, we're gonna talk about that a bit, and then if there's time, we'll have others. Sean has specifically asked that we cap it at 2 hours. My request then is, Sean, don't talk for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so it'll be probably a shorter show. But to be fair, I didn't even tell Heathen Dog this. Today's probably going to be a shorter show too, Jinx. You're only getting a segment and a half from me, and I don't know how long Heathen Dog's one segment is. So there you go.
Today's going to be, well, I am going to go a little more in depth than Max originally thought, but not a lot. A little more, but not a lot. Just because because I'm going to be talking about spell matrices and why they are needed. And to do that, for those of you who haven't read the book 3 times, I'm going to need to do a little background. And then you'll understand spell matrices and why they are completely necessary, and why they were made and their function and all that good stuff.
Yeah, hopefully when we're done, it's like what they are, why they're needed, and what was the other one? And how to use them.
No, how to use them.
It stems from there's somebody who's commenting on one of our older Earthdawn videos and basically said that there's some nonsensical aspects of Earthdawn. He thought that the subset, I don't consider spell matrices a subsystem. To me, subsystems are different systems than the core game. For example, the that I like to use is Thieves in AD&D 2nd Edition. The entire game runs off a D20 basically but thief skills are percentile dice for whatever reason. Yeah. I like subsystems, so I don't have a problem with that. But so I don't consider spell matrices a subsystem. But yeah, anyway, it came from a question out there, and I was like, this guy seems to be on the cusp of liking Earthdawn. I think we can push him over the
Push
edge
him over the edge, right?
actually
Get him off the
making
fence.
or off a fence. Either way, you're either
Yeah.
going to like it and come on our side, or you're going off the cliff with Dan on the other side. We'll figure
But
out.
either way, you made a choice with more knowledge. So
Yeah,
good on
there
you.
you go. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Go ahead and do the
yeah.
proclivities.
I am. I have to click on this other stuff here. Where the hell is it? There we go. Too many things to click on.
Yep.
All right. Welcome to RPG Digest, your live stream guide to tabletop RPG systems, settings, and publications with our takes and experiences mixed in. We are absolutely, ecstatically, wonderfully. Is there another adverb I can put on there? Happy.
Gratefully?
What's that?
Gratefully.
Gratefully. Well, I was going to say grateful you're here, but okay, there we go. Gratefully happy you're here. New viewers,
Yay.
jump in chat and make yourself known. Please help support Legion of Myth. Where's my other clicky? There it is, all the way down there. Jeez. Please help support Legion of Myth through super chats and rumble rants. Under $20, I'll read at the end of each segment. $20 or more, I will interrupt the segment as immediately as I can. And $50 or more, I will take a drink in your name. And you can force us to answer any RPG question right then and there. Man, I had to beg to drink on Friday.
Oh, speaking of, did you update the graph?
No. I'll
God
wait.
damn it, man.
I'll wait till at this point. I'll just wait till next month. We'll be halfway.
You had
through the year.
37 jobs and you failed one of them. God.
I did. We'll be halfway through the year. I don't know if it'll be quite ready for the next. Well, it'll be ready for when Kevin and Sean are on. So, but we'll be like halfway through the year with like 20% of the income. So you can think of that disparity right there. Anyway, if we hit $200 in total, we give away a $100 Palladium Books or Drive-Thru RPG gift card near the end of the live stream, open to YouTube members, Rumble subscribers, and today's super chatters and ranters. Rumble subscribers? I don't think that's a thing. Why did I write that in there?
I don't know.
Because I can't tell. Oh, I guess that'd be the locals, folks. I don't know. Either way, whatever.
What is
You
it
must be
called,
watching
Rumble?
live to claim it, or it rolls to next week. Prefer to support quietly? Check the live stream's description for other options. And with that, thank you very much. And now we're going to get into it. All of a sudden, I feel like I have no energy.
Oh, I sucked it all
Seriously.
away.
Yeah, apparently. Like right now, I'm just kind of like, let's go to bed. It'll be a sleep stream. All right, we get my document
Zombies
ready.
up there.
Get some zombies.
Actually,
up here.
today's combat, right?
Well, so here's, I said you're going to get
Kinda.
1.5.
Yeah.
I'm skimming over the combat section. Here's why. Okay, can I please get there we go. Because I took a look at it and it's all regurgitated information that we've covered. It just happens to compile it in one spot.
Oh, well,
So
that has merit.
we may dive into it. No, as far as the book goes, that's great. And I like that. In fact, I should probably say that at the beginning, so I won't say too much now.
All right.
In fact, remind me to say that because I probably won't.
All right.
But the most of the information we've read. So if there's like a paragraph or two in there, a section there that, wait, hold on, let's actually focus on this a little bit more. I'll happily do it. But otherwise, it's just information that you've got through all the other videos. So that's why we're just going to cover like paragraph headings right now as kind of a reminder, and then dive into whatever's necessary from there. And that thumbnail.
I love it.
Yeah. Up in my AI thumbnail game. Hello, Legionnaires. This is Max Leal from Legion of Myth, and in this segment, we face Dead Rain zombie combat and fighting zombie section from this Palladium RPG book. This is tactical horror your campaign needs, I promise you, because zombies should create duress, bad choices, and ugly survival decisions instead of becoming another stack of hit points, whatever, wandering into your fantasy battle map. Please like this video, hype, subscribe, super chat, super thank, if it's after the fact, and let YouTube know that you appreciate our efforts and this content. If we do not read every section of this book, because I am about to skip some sections of the book coming up here, or any book that you want, pool your resources with other people and buy that missing coverage from us. It is a fun way to keep Legion Myth afloat in 2027 and beyond. Of course, don't forget Songs of the Megaverse. Creates fan-made concept albums inspired by Palladium Books. Buy the albums on Amazon and iTunes. Stream them on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and more. All right, let's So I think it was page 57. If I remember
Well, while
correctly.
you're looking for that, the whole fact that you commented like, "Oh, keeping the combat fresh, you don't want to have it be stale." Like the way Dead Rain zombies are put together, every single zombie, even if he's all alone, is an absolute threat. Not that one personally to you, but if it sees you and lives for just a few seconds, it's almost game over for you. That's crazy. But
And this chapter actually dives into that. Now,
good.
one of the things that I want to state, since we're on the video side of things now, is I'm not going to do a direct read through of this unless there's a paragraph in here. I'm going to read all the headings, but unless there's a paragraph in here that somebody wants. Now, I'm not shortchanging you. There's a reason for that. All of this has been covered in previous videos. All of it. This is just the consolidation of everything we've talked about in previous videos. So it's a very important part of the book. If in case you skip sections prior to this, because it's a role-playing book. It's not a novel. You don't necessarily read it from cover to cover. You read the sections you need. Well, guess what? This is a section you need if you missed a lot of the other stuff. With that said, I don't want to just read through the same stuff that we've talked about everywhere between 2 and 15 times already. But if there's a part in here that that chat or Heathen Dog wants me to stop at, I will. Until then, we are going to just read the little headings here. So it starts off, let me zoom in so everybody can see that, with trust your gut. No, don't do that. Don't trust your gut. Trust what works. Your gut's probably wrong.
Well, no, I think the whole trust your gut thing is if you think that this situation has gotten too dangerous, but you have no proof, run away.
Yeah, but your gut might also tell you that, oh, that guy's not really a zombie. He's trying to sell me a candy bar.
Well, that's not your gut. That's your stupid empathy trying to get you killed again. In the apocalypse, you have to let go of empathy or you're going to die. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
It might make you, a 5-time murderer, but you're still alive.
You'll wake up the next day.
It ain't paranoia if they're really out to get you. Yep.
That's fair.
Stay alert, think fast, react even faster. Can't really, I know reflexes, okay, but that's not direct thinking. Thinking fast and reacting even faster means, you're going to have to act on instinct a lot. That goes back to your gut.
You're going to have to train yourself to react a certain way to certain situations. For example, you're going through a house. You see one zombie in the corner, hasn't sensed you yet. You're 10 feet away. He's sleeping, or the things that zombies do. What do? You have maybe a couple of seconds before he can sense you. You will definitely if you step in that room. You have two choices: get in there and kill him real quick, or run away. There's a right answer. The right answer is run away. The reason being is because where there's one, they're like cockroaches. There's more. You kill that one, 3 more are going to come out of every corner, underneath every cupboard. It's going to be nuts.
Nope. In that case, you actually kill him really quickly. Why? Because you're already within his 25-foot sensing range, and you're not going to get out of there
when they're in sleep mode, it's 6 feet.
Was it 6 feet?
Yep. Like 2 point whatever meters or something like that.
I'd still kill him.
See,
because the thing is he's sleeping. I'm gonna get that knife to his head, and he's not gonna be able to moan. I got 30 seconds, and I can go before he gets that moan out.
And I would say that would be the wrong answer. The reason being is because what about all the zombies in that room you can't see immediately?
Again, if he doesn't get that moan out for 30 feet.
But
the zombies are everywhere.
6 feet of them, and then they'll wake up.
No. It's 30 seconds. He's got 30 seconds to moan, and zombies are everywhere anyway. You're not going to find a safe place. You see a zombie.
No, you're missing my point. When a zombie is sleeping and you walk within 6 feet of it, it will wake up.
Right.
And sense you.
Right.
Now you see one zombie in the room.
Right.
You know there's a zombie there, and you're pretty sure you can kill him before he can moan, which is great. but you'll walk through the sense perimeter of every other zombie that's in that room that you can't see.
You're
Now,
doing that anyway.
yeah,
Take
but
them out while you can.
I want to stay alive more.
I don't believe that you will be staying alive more because now you have to go scavenge somewhere else where, guess what?
Yep.
There are going to be more zombies.
Maybe not. But I'm not going to die in that room. I might die in another room. Won't be that one.
Where are we here? Save the lives you can and don't lose sleep over the ones you can't. Pretty dark way of looking at that. So you stop the moan and you stop the conversions.
Yep.
Headshots are great. Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck.
17 to
They got
20.
armor ratings. So many. A headshot in a normal Palladium game is not as hard as a headshot in this game. This game makes headshots worse because that's the way you shut off a zombie like a light switch. You got to destroy their brain. It makes it so much worse, so much harder here to do that. That I don't know, man. Fighting zombies is almost a don't do it.
When you're facing a whole bunch of Walking Dead, forget about the moan and get the hell out.
Yeah.
Once that starts stuff, then I agree. Then it's time to go. All right, staying alive is rule number 1. I think that's kind of true even outside this game. Just saying. Keep moving to stay alive. All right. I'm a firm believer that you're better off on the run. Yeah. Because sooner or later, somebody's going to wander in your area and start moaning.
Yeah. If you are stationary and a zombie sees you and starts a moan, they're going to be coming from all sides. If you're already moving, they're probably not going to have time to surround you. Makes sense.
Zombie sensing range is only 25 to 50 feet under most circumstances, but the typical house is only 50 feet long and 20 to 30 feet wide. That means if surrounded by zombies, they can sense you wherever you are inside. You can go into the basement or the second floor, but you're still in sensing range, and the moaning and convergence continues. The pounding and search for a way in continues. Remember, we talked about some will grab stuff, some will just keep beating on the walls, some will climb on top of each other. Look, they're going to get you.
Yeah. And they're not going to stop because they still know you're in there.
Yes, for how long was it? It's like an hour or something?
Yeah, an hour or
like
two.
3d6 or something. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Taller, larger commercial buildings are better because they probably have fewer windows and are built with cinder block. Well, they still have to be maintained, though. But
if you can get several stories up and be out of sensing range.
Right, but I'm saying I wouldn't want to live there permanently because they still need to be maintained, yeah. But hey, you know what? You could probably do it for a couple months to maybe even up to a year or two before you're like, yeah, this isn't working anymore. The toilets don't flush. And anyway, don't need to read any more of that. All right, you don't have to kill a zombie to stop a zombie or get past one. All right. Vital zombie combat note. I will read this. Zombies always try to grab and hold its potential victim. The reason I'm reading this is because when I first read this was kind of newish because it talked about attacking and so forth. But, maybe I get hung up on this and I shouldn't necessarily. I think there's a better word in this case, but it says always. A zombie always tries to grab and hold its potential victim. I get that, but I can also see it pummeling its victim as well. So probably shouldn't get held up on that. But as soon as it can grab you, it's going to. Then it's going to attack by biting its held victim or hitting or strangling with its other hand, and waiting for other zombies to join the attack, punching, kicking, and biting the victim while the first one hangs on. So basically one grabs you and the other kill you, or one grabs you and kills you and the others eat you, or either way, it's all bad. So, yeah, that's nothing really new in there. In a confined space, shooting out one or both the zombie's legs will slow the damn thing down. But remember, crawlers. Crawlers exist.
Yeah, that's why I said didn't stop. It's just going to slow it down.
Yep. Block their path. Yeah, how do you do that? Again, this is most effective. In narrow spaces, you block their path and they're stalled. Even if it's something they can crawl over, it slows zombies down. Slouchers and many other zombies are poor at climbing, and you'll buy yourself precious seconds, maybe minutes, All right, not gonna read all the game sets here. The trick is the obstacle must be big, heavy, or jam tight. Otherwise, The Walking Dead just push it aside or smash it to pieces and press onward. And why is that? Because they have twice your strength.
Mm-hmm.
For that matter, locking doors behind you can buy precious time. Won't be a lot of time. They're gonna beat it down, but you know
Yep.
what? If you bar that door and run, especially if you're going from inside to outside, you got a chance. Going the other way, maybe not so much. Drop them down a hole or lock them up tight. That can be as simple as locking a parcel of zombies in a room. Better tactic is getting a bunch of zombies into a basement and blowing up or chopping out the stairs. Bingo, the zombies are trapped with no way up. Only a thinker might be smart enough to figure out they can climb up each other to create a human pyramid or jump. But knowing that and getting the dumb brutes to do it are two different things. Not likely. Only a 25% chance. That's still likely enough for me to say that's not
Well, remember the last step in all these plans is run away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Talks about pit traps and moats after that. You pin them to a wall. I mean that literally. Okay. Trap a limb. Good luck. Avoid
a bear trap will stop them from coming at you for a good while.
until it rips off its leg and just lumbers. It's gonna be slower.
Yeah.
Avoiding the grasp of a zombie. Inevitably, there will be mad dashes through crowds of zombies. Inevitably, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not going to go through this entire thing without being the subject of a moan at least once.
Zombies who will grab at the fleeing characters. Oh, that's the sentence. Okay. The player of the fleeing character rolls 1d20 and the GM rolls 1d20. High roll wins. Defender always wins ties. If the character wins, he dodges past the zombie without getting grabbed. Dodge bonuses may be applied to the roll to avoid being grabbed. If the zombie wins, the character is grabbed and must fight his way out of the monster's clutches. Teammates can help. That almost sounds like an automatic win for the zombies, even with a dodge bonus, if there are more than like 3 or 4 zombies.
Yeah. What I would do, if it's possible, is have a bottle of oil, motor oil, cooking oil, whatever, probably motor oil. And if I have to go through a band of zombies, I'm going to grease up my sides before I run to try and give myself a bonus or give them a minus to grab me.
Huh. That might work.
Hey, it's worth a shot. It either does nothing or it helps. Either way, I still got to run through the zombies, right?
Or you could put that motor oil on, you light yourself on fire and make them just stay away from you.
That's the last solution
Okay.
that you'll ever have.
But they stayed away from you.
They did. You did not turn into a zombie. A zombie did not kill you. Fair enough. I guess you can count that as a win.
Died very horrifically, but pulling someone from the grip of a zombie is difficult. Walking Dead may 1 to 50% chance hold their victim with both hands and attack with bites and headbutts, or 51 to 100 hold with one hand and hit the character as well as bite. It requires a combined physical strength 50% higher than the zombie's own physical strength,
which is on average 22. So
yeah, good luck with that. So
you're going to need a
33.
34, 33, something like that.
Yeah, a total. So
combined?
that's total. So you could have 3 characters with 11 strengths to do it, but it would take 3 characters with 11 strengths to do it.
Yeah, that's tying up 4 people. The guy who's trapped and 3 others who are trying to help him. I don't know, man. That seems like an overuse of resources.
Well, according to this book, it's 36. So you need 12 strengths or higher.
Oh,
So,
all right. Well, whatever.
or 4 characters with a 9. Anyway, yeah, that's killing doesn't matter. Take off its arm. Hey, there you go. You know what? If its arm is still holding on to you, but it's not trying to bite you, you can still flick that thing away while you're running.
Yeah.
Blast what you can and hope for the best.
All of these tips are like last resort. The shit has already hit the fan, and you just want to try and get out.
That's what Dead Rain is.
Yeah, this is all the tactics we got here.
Blast them and bash them to get zombies to move out of your way. Okay. I mean, I guess you're making a hole.
Yeah, I mean that's the use of shotguns, I guess. Concussive force.
Bombard the
area.
body, really? Well, a headshot has the potential of killing a zombie immediately. Attacks leveled against the main body will eventually take a zombie out of action, especially if there are multiple humans attacking the same zombie. Inflict enough damage, the zombie goes down. Have enough people on the thing, and it goes down in 15 to 30 seconds. 2 melee rounds. Smash out the brains to make sure it was dead, only if you have the luxury of time to do so. Otherwise, keep moving. Well,
Okay,
it's
so
gonna come back,
we
but-
know that unless you burn it or destroy the brain, it's going to regenerate and get up. We've learned that from reading the zombie stats, especially the sloucher. But in this instance, you just want to leave. So you're not worried about double tapping this thing to make sure it's down forever. You know, to be fair, with billions of zombies out there, taking the time to make sure this one is scratched off the list permanently is probably not worth that precious time.
Yeah. Especially if the point is to get away, and that's usually the point. The best weapons to use are blunt objects, curved blades, and guns that inflict heavy damage. Long-range sniper attacks require a high-powered rifle, and headshots to be most effective. Explosives can be effective against zombies, but they are very messy, create shrapnel that can hurt you and innocent people and valuable property caught in the blast radius, and the explosion attracts zombies from all around. Remember, what happens when you light a zombie on fire?
It creates a whole mess of chaos, and he just runs around lighting other crap on fire.
Exactly. You have a mobile torch that's just bumping into things.
Yeah.
Fire scares and kills zombies, all right?
Sure.
Using fire is dangerous.
Yes.
And again, we've talked
zombie on fire. Oh God.
We've talked about all this in previous. Okay. That's really it. So what that section did, we're going to talk about Retro Savages in the next episode. What that did is that just kind of compiled together everything we had learned so far about the game and put it in one spot about how you should handle zombies. The game is so clear, more clear than it needs to be, about zombies are not encounters that you are trying to beat, because it's not going to happen. You might beat 1 or 2. You might get a safe house for a night or 7. But sooner or later, there's going to be a moan. There's going to be a convergence. There's going to be a situation when you're like, oh, crap. We need the medicine or Heathen Dog's going to die. And look what's walking through the entire store. How many of them were other people who tried to get the same medicine you did?
Yeah.
Previously.
Yeah, Bob came last week. Oh, look, there's Bob.
And now you have to make that decision. Is it worth it?
I want to be like Bob?
Do you want to be like Bob? Do you want to save Heathen Dog? Or are you going to have some sort of tactical plan to get in there? Maybe you can light the place on fire and quickly get in and get the medicine before you get out. I wouldn't try that, though. Get some zombie cats. Unfortunately, animals don't turn into zombies in this game. They just die.
Yep. All right, I see that you start something.
Yeah, hopefully you were paying attention to most of it, but I wanted to answer that question.
Yep.
So,
First one. Do you feel this list of tactics is limiting player invention?
nope. And I'll tell you why. Does 2 things. It's actually more, I think it's more information for the game master subtly than it is for the player. This isn't a demand that you as a player, you can only do these things. But to be fair, the rules, this consolidating the rules into, we've talked about the different zombie types. How do you kill these zombies? We've even complained about a couple of the rules. Oh, look at that. Not only do you need a 14 or higher, oh, you need a natural 17 to get in the head. Things like that. It's all it's doing is compiling together how tough it is. How tough zombies are. What it's telling the game master, though, is that you're not doing this right if there's only 1 or 2 zombies there every time.
Mm-hmm.
I want a balanced encounter for the party. No.
This world is not balanced. Humans are screwed.
Right.
Every
You are meant to be on
encounter
the run
should
at
in
all
some
times.
way reflect the fact that humans are boned
Yep.
and we are severely outnumbered.
Yep. So,
But, when I was reading that, I was like, well, why didn't that list give examples of, anti-zombie tactics? It's supposed to be zombie combat, not just the zombies combat, but our combating the zombies. Wasn't there anything in there? And then I realized, oh, well, that's where the player has all the agency. That's where the player gets to form their plan. Now they know what zombies do. Zombies, 50% chance grab with one hand, 50% chance grab with another. Either way, they're going to be punching and or biting you while they're doing it, holding you down to wait for other zombies to come in while moaning. This is all the things that it's telling the game master how to run zombies and telling the players how zombies operate. So using that information, the player now has to form an attack plan, how they're going to clear rooms. If they are caught, what are they going to do? If they hear a zombie moan, in under what circumstances do you immediately run, and in what circumstances do you stifle the moan?
Mhm.
This is all up to the player to decide. And the game master runs the zombie not according to their strategy, because most zombies, like 90% of them, don't have any real strategy like that. They can't adapt to what the players are doing. But because of this combat section, the game master knows what the zombies are going to do in almost every situation, because it's almost always the same.
The zombie threat isn't a single zombie, even though a single zombie can be pretty tough. The zombie threat is the convergence or a multiple zombies. So that's why I stress, look, there are going to be times when, yes, the players get lucky and they find a house that's either vacant or has one or two zombies in there that you can get pretty quickly before a convergence happens.
Mhm.
That's not going to be the majority of the time. That's going to be the minority of the time. And they're going to have to learn how to survive. But anything else worth
It says here in the beginning of the world, I don't remember at the beginning of the story how many people there were left.
Yeah, it was like 25 or 30%, something like that.
Yeah, so Polyrobotics says 25% of the world at the start of the game are humans. That means there's, for every one human, there's 3 zombies. You are outnumbered. That's just how it is. You're gonna
The
have to deal
answer is
with that.
no. I mean, I'm sure you could find some island out in the middle of a river somewhere, maybe, but that isn't going to be enough to sustain you for the rest of your life. But if you're talking something like, I don't know, a Pacific island or Guam, good luck getting there.
Yeah, it's hard enough getting there, but people lived there,
Which
right?
means zombies.
Which means there's going to be zombies there too. And it's going to be at least 75% of the former population of that island is going to be zombies. Now, you could find deserted islands, but deserted islands are deserted for a reason. Space is at a premium in a lot of places. So an island is an island is an island, unless it doesn't have any fresh water or, arable land. Then you can't live there anyway. So, yeah, desert island is only something to rest on for a day or two. Then you got to move on.
The one other that I will read, and then we'll move on into the next segment, is the only problem with the GM doesn't give you the space to problem solve on the go. I agree with that, but here's the caveat. I'm going to actually put the players on the spot for this one. You're absolutely right. The game master has to allow you to problem solve on the go. However, players have to stop thinking that because it worked once, it's going to work every time, because situations can change. Also, just me personally, I hate crutches. I hate them. I'm not talking like military tactics, like, hey, we do this every time for the most safe outcome. And no, zombies aren't going to prepare for that. With that said, is that doesn't mean that it works in every situation, because a zombie could be in a weird spot, especially the crawlers can be anywhere, right? Or a thinker could be around that gives you a bad day, or the fast attack zombie. You thought everything was going slowly and controlled, and then something changes. My point in saying that is, I love it when the players have a plan, and I love it when it works. It gets boring for everybody when the same thing works every time.
That's why, the majority of the zombies in this game are your average Romero nonsense. Slow walkers, slow crawlers, whatever. But there's the 13% or whatever of the special zombies to mix it up, to make sure that the regular tactics don't work all the time. That's what it's for. There are no zombie sharks, Noro.
Yeah, you're safe there. You'll just get eaten by regular sharks.
Regular sharks, there are regular sharks. So, there's that. They're dangerous enough.
All right, thank you very much for watching this video. Legion of Myth has covered deep dives and overviews for more than 50 tabletop RPGs, and the point is simple. Help you discover or rediscover games, mechanics, lore, and ideas that can make your own table sharper, stranger, and more dangerous. If we missed, skipped, or did not cover part of the book or any book, pool resources with others and buy that missing coverage from us so Legion Myth can continue into 2027 and beyond. Throw this video like a gross zombie eyeball, because that's always fun, at another survivor who still runs the undead like slow goblins, and like hype, subscribe, and super thank this video to let YouTube and us know that you appreciate our efforts and content. And remember, check out Songs of the Megaverse fan-made concept albums inspired by Palladium Books. Buy the albums on Amazon iTunes and stream them on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and more. All right, what page am I on? 61.
Oh, Polyrobotics says the supplementary books make zombies even worse. I assume worse means more dangerous and not like stupid. Like, oh no, this is a clown zombie. He doesn't try and eat you. He throws pies. Nothing like that. Because that would be worse. But yeah, worse as in, oh God, we're all gonna die. Worse.
Yeah, I'm already, I like survival games. I'm not interested in this world.
This seems dangerous enough. I don't want like zombies strapped with explosives and shit. I don't need that.
The mechanic zombie.
That.
The zombies running drone speed.
Yeah. We don't need that either. But it's a thinker zombie. Dude, come on.
It's a super thinker.
Chill out. Calm down a little bit. Okay? No one needs that. No one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, if they're even worse than this,
Man, I checked out a long time ago. All right. I mean, if this actually happened, I'm not worried about surviving.
Oh, I'm not worried about the zombies killing me, because I'm gonna off myself.
Exactly. I'm gonna self-delete on this one. All right. I'm gonna take myself out of the equation, because a lot of people don't understand that surviving the apocalypse is an achievement, but it's not the achievement that matters. It's thriving afterward. That's the hard part. That's the part that sucks out your soul and your will to live. And I probably don't want to go through that,
And it's not like you can go to a mountaintop and just live there. Because guess what's there? Zombies.
Yeah. Guess what's not there? Food. Yeah, because zombies eat animals too.
Zombies are just a bunch of jerks.
They 100%. I'm on board with that statement. You should make that a t-shirt.
Zombies are jerks. It's funny you say that. Actually, I do have a few new t-shirt designs up. I closed out a bunch of the old ones, and there are a few new t-shirt designs up. I don't think I got them on Spreadshirt yet, though. It's, takes a while to get all that stuff up and everywhere, but I think they're on Redbubble.
Yeah. Crafty, how you doing? My friend was running a zombie game for a gaming store, and one of the players asked, what if I want to be a good zombie? And the answer to that question is, there's the door. The door's right there. Please let it hit your ass on the way out. Zombies are not meant to be player characters. There's no such thing as a good zombie, just like there's no such thing as a carnivorous cow or a vegetarian dog. These things don't exist. I'm actually reminded of the movie Chasing Amy, where one of the characters drew 4 pictures. One of them was Santa Claus, one of them was the Easter Bunny, and for this instance, we're going to change 2 of them to a good zombie and a carnivorous cow. If you put $100 in the middle of all 4 of these creatures, which one would reach it first? The answer is none of them, because they don't exist. They're figments of your imagination. They don't exist. Just like they wouldn't exist in this game. A good zombie doesn't exist. Same as Santa Claus.
Zombies can't have morality.
No.
Because they're dead.
Yes, they are instinct only, and their instinct is to suck your literal soul, the energy of your life force. That's all they do. That's what they do. They won't stop.
Even the mock zombie, if he gets you alone, starts looking at you like a hot dog,
Yes.
remember?
You're a hot dog. Yes. It will eat you. It'll apologize while doing it, but that doesn't help you. You're still dead and going to turn into a zombie.
Going to turn into a zombie. And
Yeah.
probably not a mock zombie either.
No, probably a regular bullshit zombie. 87% chance you're just going to be a regular bullshit zombie. So, yeah, no such thing.
Well, you know what? Zombies are bad. They're really bad. But
Yeah.
now we're going to talk about how bad people are.
Oh, people are the worst.
All right, wait, are you talking in the game or for real?
Both.
Hello, Legionnaires. This is Maxiel from Legion of Myth. In this segment, we dig through the Retro Savages section of the Dead Rain RPG from Palladium Books. This is human-made horror insight your campaign needs, because the living can make the apocalypse crueler, more personal, and more intense than any zombie swarm. Because unlike that mock zombie that pretends to be human, this one really is. And you know what? You're going to be the person that just breaks through, and he'll understand and he'll want to join and be one of the good guys. Instead of giving you just another bland gang of disposable raiders or orcs, we're going to do something more human and more personal for you. So please like, hype, subscribe, and super thank this video. Let us and YouTube know that you appreciate our efforts and content. If we do not read every section of this book or any book that you want, pool resources with other people and buy that missing coverage from us. It is a fun way to keep Legion of Myth afloat in 2027 and beyond. And as I have to keep shouting out here, don't forget Songs of the Megaverse. Creates fan-made concept albums inspired by Palladium Books. Buy the albums on Amazon. I was going to say anime for some reason. That's weird. Buy the albums on Amazon and iTunes. Stream them on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and more. All right. Look back up there.
Yeah, the thing about people versus zombies, I don't know if they're going to get into this exactly, because obviously I haven't read this, but most conflicts between people are because of resources. And zombies don't need the same resources people do. So
They
we're
need
not
people as the
competing for it.
resource.
Because we are the resource, but they don't care about food. They don't care about shelter. They don't care about any comforts. They don't care about the things we care about. But other people do. That means they are a threat. If they do not have what you have, they're going to want to take what you have. Which is gross. But it's true.
All right, we'll skip the lore part and we'll just get into the information part. To put it simply, Retro Savages are survivors who have given in to fear, superstition, and savagery. And some would even say insanity.
Well, the world's gone crazy, so, get on board.
You just be crazy with it.
Yeah.
The worldview, or their worldview, is extreme. Most believe the wave in the zombie apocalypse is the wrath of God, a way to wipe away the parts of human society that were too selfish, decadent, cruel, and start anew. They call the zombies God's children. God. And a walking testament of what we brought upon ourselves. To them, it seems clear that this is the zombies' purpose, to tear down civilization and destroy the trappings of science and technology that led to man's fall. Retro savages blame television, computers, the internet, science, and technology in general for humanity's decline into instant self-gratification and depravity. The zombies are gods avenging children sent to destroy that sinful world and all human beings who try to cling to their old despicable ways. And what better
Okay.
way to what's that?
I was going to say, okay, then we're not going to call them retro savages anymore. We're going to call them apocalypse Karens.
Okay.
Because that's exactly what they sound like.
What better way to be a Karen or to send that message and punish the fallen people than to turn the living into mindless zombies to tear it all down? Well, I can think of a lot of better ways, but fine.
Almost any other way. It's better than that.
The fact that most zombies stay in the cities and towns is to retro savages further proof of God's obvious intent and the message. After all, the hand of doom is the very people who had become ugly, selfish, godless monsters in life. As a result, retro savages have forsaken most of the trappings of technology and have reverted to 19th century lifestyle and agrarian society. Great, it's the Amish zombies.
Yep. No, the Amish Karens. Amish Karen. Okay.
Amish Karen zombie.
Yeah. Amish Karen.
At first glance, retros may seem harmless and reminiscent in some ways to the way of life lived by the Amish. Oh, look at that.
There it is.
They raise crops and livestock, have work animals, use only basic modern guns and tools, embrace hard work, and live by the sweat of their own brow to survive and please the Almighty. In addition,
overall, that doesn't sound so bad, right?
well, the other shoe is falling.
Yeah, I know.
It always
I know.
is.
Yeah.
In addition to the use of modern guns, ammo, and simple tools, nothing electric powered, they also use modern fishing gear, animal traps. At least for now, most retros condone the wearing of clothing salvaged from the old world, as well as use plastic containers and similar items. As long as you didn't make the plastic yourself, you're fine. Under extreme conditions, some retro savages may even drive an automobile or truck or use flashlight or gun scope. However, there is no electricity, nor gas heat, no power tools, radios, walkie-talkies, or computers, no binoculars or other modern optics, no cameras, televisions, or DVDs. No electric appliances or generators, no YouTube, no battery-operated devices, no modern vehicles, no TikTok, no cell phones, no aircraft, medicine, or other trappings of the modern age before the zombie apocalypse.
Okay,
How
well,
is Gen Z going to live?
I don't understand the whole no scope thing. I mean, they had optics in like 1600s and 1700s and crap.
is true.
So, yeah, I don't know why the optics was in there. It's just a bunch of, glass.
Hey, once you start making rules, you can't have enough rules.
All right, fair enough.
The land is tilled and crops planted and harvested by hand, and all aspects of life have reverted to living off of nature as God intended. That means raising livestock, fishing, hunting, gathering fruits and bounty of nature, and living off the land are all acceptable ways of life. Science, technology, and devices from the old urban communities are taboo.
Okay.
The worldview
far,
of
so
retro...
good.
What's that?
So far, so good.
The worldview of retro savages does not stop there. They
And there's the
completely
rub.
They completely rebuke science and technology and reject all people who cling to it. Thus, survivors who don't share their views are regarded as dangerous sinners and fools awaiting the Almighty's punishment at the hands of the children. These will be the assholes that feed the zombies like once a week by putting you on a cross right outside the village gate.
Yep.
Yeah. Thus, survivors who don't... Oh, I did that already. This creates a powerful and pervasive them and us attitude between retro savages and all other survivors. Worse, since the retros see everyone else as sinners awaiting God's wrath to be killed and turned into zombies. Yep, there we go. They have no regard for other people, look upon outsiders with disgust and disdain, and seek to help move them along to their just punishment. That last part means feeding people to the zombie.
Yep.
The tropes just keep coming. Oh. Retro savages do not see this as evil, cruel, or even murder because A, it's God's will, and B, they are not doing the actual killing themselves. Murder is, after all, a sin.
These are that's some moral flexibility there.
That's also some very these aren't Christian. These are, I understand they're being deists in this case, but it's certainly not Christian ethics. Okay.
No.
That's actually closer to Islamic ethics if you actually look at world events.
Which is incompatible with our ethics.
Yeah. To implement God's will, retros capture survivors whenever the opportunity arises. Lone individuals and small groups of 5 or less people are the most likely to be targeted. That means your group.
Yeah, you
Women
guys.
and children are sometimes given a pass, as might an extremely kindly traveler who doesn't seem to use much tech, so just walking along.
Yeah.
However,
Take off your watch.
cities. What's that?
Take off your watch.
Oh, it's not even a watch anymore. It doesn't work. I just keep it as jewelry. My wife gave it to me. I'm gonna live, right?
Have a good story.
There you go. However, city sinners, or the damned as the retro savages call them, driving a vehicle and laden with modern technology, as well as people who talk about fighting zombies and rebuilding human civilization, are all prime subjects for victimization. First, the target is likely to get a lecture about the evils of the time before the wave. They're Jedi. And then given a chance to renounce the old ways, forsake technology, and join their clan. If the visitor joins their group, he is saved and welcomed into their community. I'm dead. I'm so dead. If the visitor rejects the invitation, no matter how politely, he becomes one of the damned in their eyes and a candidate for the Lord's divine punishment. This entails the visitor being taken captive, usually at gunpoint or by a band of men who vastly outnumber him. The individual is then stripped of his belongings except for the clothes on his back and beaten by the men while the women pray God has mercy on his eternal soul. The victim is then bound and taken on foot or by horse, drawn wagon, to a place zombies are known to frequent on a regular basis. There, the victim is tied or chained to a tree, lamppost, fencing, car bumper, large piece of debris, or whatever's appropriate, and left out in the open. Retro savages sing a psalm, of course they do, to attract the zombies to the area and leave the poor sinners to his deserved fate. Actually, the zombies periodically wander this area because it has become known as a place where they can find food tied up nice and neat. You know, it's like you feed a cat or a squirrel or a stray dog or something once, it's going to come checking again.
Yeah.
If the retro group doesn't have a designated zombie feeding post, they either dump the captives at the edge of a nearby city or tie them to something on the outskirts of town and leave them for the zombies or wild dogs to find. Such are the ways of the self-righteous retro savages. I got thoughts. But anyway, there are at least several hundred, perhaps a few thousand clans. Clans, not just total people. This is bigger than the Westboro Baptist nonsense people. Each movement has its own leader and council of elders, bylaws and procedures for sending innocent people into the arms of zombies, but they all share the same outlook on life and basic beliefs. About technology, science, and God, as described. Most retros live in the countryside where they establish homesteads and small isolated farming communities. Others wander the land as nomadic tribes of hunters and gatherers, much like the Native Americans and settlers of old. The permanent settlements tend to have larger populations, while the traveling bands are smaller. Whether traveling clan or a countryside settlement, retro savages are always close-knit communities of like-minded people, ready and willing to help each other out. Everyone in their community contributes to the survival of the group, and all outsiders are looked upon with suspicion and disdain. There's one thing that has not been answered for me yet, though, and I give it another paragraph here because I think that's all we have left. Yeah. I have to ask a question at the end of this paragraph if it doesn't answer it. Retro savages are very aggressive toward and intolerant of outsiders. They're easily provoked and incredibly dangerous when their beliefs are challenged. They are mocked or embarrassed, or leaders threatened or killed. Retros hate reapers and apocalyptic soldiers most of all, because they actively slaughter the children of God. Meanwhile, shepherds of the damned, houndmasters, scroungers, and most survivors are regarded as deluded, corrupt, duplicitous city sinners, or the damned, condemned to an inevitable destruction. If an outsider finds himself among retros, even over a simple matter like asking directions, he's likely to be ignored or hear, "Your kind isn't wanted around here. You best be moving on." It's advice he'd be wise to follow before he becomes a meal for a zombie. It's important to note that retro savages do not murder people per se. Yes, they do. But they are not afraid to protect themselves. Push too hard, threaten, or make retros angry, and outsiders will find themselves looking down the business end of a rifle or shotgun. Killing in self-defense is not murder, and retro savages are deadly serious about protecting their families, friends, farms, beliefs, and belongings. "Get off my land now or prepare to die, stranger," is a serious threat. Okay, what do they do when a convergence comes to them? That is the question. That's the one question I have here. Great. Okay. You feed the zombies, you do all this stuff. But at some point, a zombie is going to see your PPE and go, moan. And what the hell then?
Well,
do they go, it's okay, it's God's will upon us? Or are they like, crap, this is on us? Or do they just run away and find a new settlement somewhere?
Yeah, for the mobile ones, that is something that they would probably do. Just, okay, this place is cooked. We just move on to a new place. But the permanent settlement ones, if they do get beset by God's children, and it doesn't sound like they're going to kill God's children, how do you stop that? Do you dig a giant moat around your farm or where you live or whatever, and they just fall in and they don't get out? Is that your plan? Because they're just going to keep moaning. I don't know either.
Yeah, that's the one thing, and to me, that's a pretty important distinction. Now, you could easily say, "Hey, it's up to the game master," and I'm not 100% opposed to that
completely, but some guidance would be appropriate.
Yes. Yep. All right. Well, let's see what it sounds like.
Retros sound like the hill people from that one episode of Firefly. Riptide? I think he meant Riptide. That one episode of Firefly.
Hill people. It's been a while since I've seen Firefly.
I know. I'm blanking on that. I'm actually reminded of an episode of Smallville, like the last season of Smallville. There was a whole village of people that went all insane because they were drinking groundwater affected by kryptonite, and they started like killing people once a year to make sure their crops grow. Sounds like that to me, but yeah, about that. Yeah.
Well, let's see what their well, thank you for the $10, but let's see what it says their game stats are. So first off, right off the bat, it says non-player character and villain. So two things in one.
Yeah, and then you walk back on that the very next sentence.
Not recommended as a player character. Oh, yeah, well.
Yeah, not recommended.
Well, even if he were to put "do not use as a player character," some game master is going to let him anyway.
Yeah, but then you could point and laugh at him.
Like considered evil or crazy and dangerous by most outsiders, but are principled and scrupulous towards their own people. Attribute standard, horror factor 10 when facing a threatening group of them. You know what I like about this is one of the things, a lot of people just continue to misunderstand horror factor. It might be because of the name of it. It might be because how it was initially presented back in the day. I don't know what the reason is. But horror factor isn't just, oh my God, that's a creepy looking something. Is it going to scare me? Horror factor is used in so many instances where fear, indecision, shell shock, insert term here that you want to put in play, stress. That might be a little weak there, but you get what I'm saying. Like when something comes into play that could cause you to momentarily hesitate, run, or act differently. Remember, horror factor doesn't last for the rest of the game or anything like that. So the fact that when you see a bunch of these guys, here, let me put up this thumbnail again, because I think the thumbnail actually does a pretty good job of this one. If you see that, you're probably going to pause. You see Negan coming after you with that, with that
Negan
bat
and all of his dudes.
Yeah. You're probably going to pause. Well, horror factor 10, still 55% chance to succeed, but
yeah, I mean, from what I've seen from Palladium is 10 and below are things that are scary, but still quote unquote normal. Things that are above 10 are usually supernatural or magic in some way. So it just hits harder. But that's just my take on it.
Right there, level experience 1d4. So you have they're going to be low level comparatively speaking. But remember, Palladium front loads characters, so level 1 to 4. While sounds great, if you're a party of level 6s, you might feel like you got the advantage.
Not enough,
but it's still risky. OCC bonus +2 to perception rolls. plus 3d6 plus 10 SDC. You know, they're a little rugged. You know, they're doing all this
Yeah.
stuff through manual labor. So
Right. Bonus
Plus 1d6.
physical strength, bonus physical endurance. That makes sense. You know, they're working the land, all that good stuff, building all their houses, putting up barns in a single day. You know,
yep.
yeah, you got to be strong, you got to be tough.
OCC skills. I'm not going to read all that. It just talks about the
It's gonna be non-tech skills.
yeah, and you've forsaken them, given them up. And then it gives a bunch of Retro Savage skills that start at first level. So it doesn't matter what level the character is. When you become a Retro Savage and an NPC, they're all start at first level. So you don't get to add bonus points to them just because you're already a higher level. Secondary skills, like 2, standard equipment. I don't really care about all this. If you want to know more, buy the book. Tools of the trade, skinning knives, hunter. Okay, this is all stuff that makes sense. 46 plus 24 canning jars. Don't forget those.
That makes sense.
And weapons.
They got a frying pan.
1 for each weapon proficiency and 1d6. Okay, so some ammunition for them and some trade goods. All right, so you can make a full-on character with this, even though it says NPC, but you can make a full-on character with this and have them out there.
Yeah. You could be maybe a former Apocalypse Karen, you know?
All right, so next week we are going to cover death cults. And you notice that it's kind of long.
Yeah, it is long.
It's actually going to be broken down into 2 different videos. So all of next week is going to be death cults. And we're going to go through all this, but we're going to break into two videos. We'll stop at characters. So there you go. We've only tipped our toe into the sea of bad humanity with the Retro Savages. I'm going to leave it there. I got nothing else.
Apocalypse Karen. All right. Got Beat Magnet says, one thing I did notice between my Gen X players and my Gen Z players. The Gen X players were quick to shoot other people and take their stuff. The Gen Z players were quick to help out people. That's because the Gen X players understand more about people than Gen Z. Yes, you can help groups of people, but 1 time out of 5 to 1 time out of 7, they're going to betray you. So do you take the risk?
People like to meme it, but it is very, very, very true. A vast number of us were latchkey kids, helicopter parents, and don't come back until the streetlights come on. That's not a meme. That is reality for a large number of people, especially in the suburbs. So we became, I wouldn't say survivalists, but you learned how to read people. You learned who you could get along with, who you couldn't. You learned how to get into fights. You learned how to avoid fights. You know, in a way, we learned minimal survivalist traits.
Yeah.
And because of that,
what we learned in my neighborhood is which neighbors didn't mind if you drank out of their hose, because we weren't allowed home until it was dark.
Yeah. You hear your name called, you better come running right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's what parents would do.
Yeah.
It's usually my neighbor, but because his name is Sean, and it's like, Sean, everybody knew. Oh crap. Okay. So Sean's got to go. That means in the next half hour, we're all going to start hearing our names.
Yep. Yeah. And you have to save about 10% of your total energy for getting home quickly.
Yep.
Because, your father, if you didn't respond immediately, I don't care how many miles away you were from when your mother called you or when you're supposed to be there.
And by the way, calling doesn't mean do.
No. Calling is yelling. You're yelling in the neighborhood. Your mom is yelling out. And then you come home. That's how it is.
Yep.
So if you move too far away to hear your mother or father yelling for you to come home, that's still on you.
Well, there's a problem right there, because it was always a matter of tell me where you're going to be and don't go anywhere else without giving me a phone call. And that's asking your friends, hey, can I use your phone to call my mom to say that, hey, I want to go over to the park or something like that? And then the questions would be, who are you going to be who are you going to be there with? How long are you going to be there? You know?
Or it's just like, who you going with? All right,
Yep.
be home at this time.
Yep. Dinner's at 5:30. Don't be late, you know,
Yeah,
or whatever
don't be
happened
late
to be.
for
Yeah.
dinner.
And thing was, is you were responsible for that. If you were late, sometimes you'd have a friend's parent say, hey, what time's your mom say you have to be back by? But most of the time it was you.
Yeah.
And if you were
get
late,
home late, you don't get to eat.
oh, so I didn't have that issue. I just got grounded because there's usually
Oh.
food I didn't like anyway. If
Oh, well,
half
fair
the
enough,
time for
but-
me would have been like, I don't have to eat dinner tonight. Sweet.
Yeah, well, I didn't have that problem, but yeah, if I got home late and dinner had already started, I don't get to eat it.
And one other thing was the community was involved. So if you acted up, you had a neighbor who was going to tattle on you.
Yep. Yeah, it's a completely different upbringing, and so we look at the world in a different way. You could say we're more jaded. That's fair. That is absolutely fair because we had to handle bad people ourselves.
Mhm.
When you're out, you know, you're not allowed to come home. You know, you can't run home and have your mom or dad yell at someone for you. You had to deal with it yourself. So, in a situation, we're going to deal with it immediately.
Mm.
Because that's the most efficient response. You deal with it now, you won't have to deal with it later, and you'll sleep better. So yes, you make the decision, they live or they die, and a Gen Xer will do it right now where a Gen Z will look, well, I want to see how this goes. Nope, you're just going to die. Boom. Problem solved. Was it the right call? Doesn't matter. Problem solved.
We had literal training as children on how to answer the phone if mom and dad aren't home, how to answer the door if mom and dad aren't home, or not answer the door if mom and dad aren't home. We had check our candy at Halloween to make sure that people weren't putting pins and needles and razor blades in it.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this stuff
that was more, you know, nonsense than not. But
well,
all it has to do is happen a
happened,
couple of times. And hey, CNN happened in the 80s. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah. So if it happened in Wisconsin, then we knew about it in Florida, and people were checking their candy in Florida. You know, that's just how it is. Yeah. But you know, for the generation that came before us, they didn't have the countrywide or global news network. You only knew what happened locally unless the government told you about it.
All you did then was you hid in the tree line and wait for the people to come and try to stomp your pumpkins. Then you ran out there and beat the living crap out of them.
Mm.
Or you stole some pumpkins and, like us, put M80s inside of them and watched them explode and then ran. But, all right. Anyway, the whole point of Beat Magnet, I think, was right with that comment there. And again, that's a generalization, but I don't care. I think generalizations have merit. Yeah, I think we have somewhat of a individualist, survivalist mentality when it comes to things like that. I also think, and I don't care what people, you know, don't care if people get mad at me for saying this. I think that over time, and even starting before our generation, but really kicking in because of our generation as parents, we feminized males too.
Yeah.
And so, and that's something that I don't like. I don't believe in the age of Aquarius, and I don't believe in feminizing males. I do believe, as somebody who's only 5'9", that sometimes you got to get out there and fight, get your ass beat, and beat some ass. And this whole thing's like, no, adults don't do that. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
they
Adults
should.
kill other adults all the time throughout the history of humans. We've been beating and killing each other for reasons. Those aren't good reasons. I don't give a shit if you think it's a good reason. Still happens.
But here's one of the big differences, though. We used to get into fights, and then the next day we'd be hanging out again.
Yeah, it was
now
fine.
you get into fights and you're plotting revenge and guns and everything else.
Yeah. It all got super weird.
Yeah.
You know, real quick. Between like 1990 and 2005, 2010,
it's our age of parents. It's our generation of parents who did this whole, I want to be my child's friend. No,
the children don't need. You know what? No,
I know.
We're not going to get there.
But it's that generational point that Beat Magnet was making for this. That yeah. So all right, well, with that, I gotta go back to here, and okay, I don't need the book anymore, but I do need to put this up. Thank you very much for watching this video. Legion Myth offers deep dives and overviews across more than 50 tabletop RPGs, exposing you to forgotten systems and usable campaign tools. If we missed a section of the book or any book you wanted, pool resources with others and buy that missing coverage from us. A couple people have done it so far. You could maybe be the next one. So Legion Myth continues into 2027 and beyond. Please slip this video past the barricade to another survivor and like, hype, subscribe, and super thank this video. Let YouTube and us know that you appreciate our efforts and content. Finally, check out Songs of the Megaverse fan-made concept albums inspired by Palladium Books. Buy the albums on Amazon and iTunes. Stream them on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. Can't even breathe anymore, and more. And I almost hit the end stream button.
Again.
I know. I see it's big and red, and I'm like,
It's almost like once a week you almost hit that thing.
I know.
All right, I'll be back in a sec.
Oh, all right. Let's hit some of the comments here. The 90s fights were happening in my area by 70. Wait, what? Well, no, what I'm saying is the fights kind of faded away in the 90s where it's like, okay, this isn't how adults act. This isn't what you do. Use your words. And I get a lot of that. In a lot of cases, that's true. But sometimes somebody needs to have his ass beat. And I am first and foremost the guy that will say this. As somebody who had this happen to him, I say bring back bullying. I don't mean to the point of suicide. Did I say that word on YouTube? Well, this is the members only portion, sort of, anyway. This won't be put into a video. But not to the point of that. There has to be a limit to everything. But shame and stigma are the best peaceful tools we have to discourage bad behavior. Shame and stigma are the best peaceful tools we have to discourage bad behavior. Up next comes an ass whooping. And yes, some things we tolerate nowadays, we should not. Some things we accept nowadays, we shouldn't even tolerate. Those people need their ass beat. So it's still open to the public in terms of the live stream, but it will be in video portion. It'll be members only. So,
all right. Yeah, I heard that shame and stigma. Yes. You know, when we were kids, there were no 18 and 20-year-olds who were happy that there were pictures of them nude circling around everywhere.
God, no, you would feel horrendous.
God, the amount of shame. I knew girls who made mistakes when flip phones came out and allowed boyfriends to take pictures of them. Those pictures got passed around to the school, and their parents took them out of the school and put them in a different school district.
Yeah. Here's an example of how things changed to me in a negative way. And I'm not saying, I'll be very clear, on an individual level, I'm not saying that anybody should be hurt over this. Are we clear about that? But we had a girl, I won't mention her name, even though she'd be my age, so 50-something now, who got pregnant. And what my school, obviously she was shunned by a lot of people. However, a couple of my teachers are like, we shouldn't do that. People make mistakes and it's good. It's good. And it isn't about, hey, have children younger, which I'm actually in favor of, although I think you should be married when you do it. It's not about that. It's the fact that she was a slut. There you go. Oh, you can't slut shame. The fuck we can't. And they've beat this into you that you can't be judgmental. Here's another little colloquialism for you outside of the shame and stigma one. What you do in the privacy of your own home is your business. What you do in public is everyone's business. Now, people will be like, mind your own business. No, you're in public.
Yeah.
You are in my business. I'm in your business. What you do at home, what you do in the privacy of your own home is your own business. What you do in public is everyone's business, and they absolutely do have a right to shame, ostracize, and tell you what the fuck is up.
Yep. That's it.
But anywho, this isn't a political show, although we're going there today. So let's talk about some spell matrices in Earthdawn. What do you think about that? I'll slide you over there. And you ready for me to put the thingy up, or You have like slides or a book or something you're showing?
I have a book. I'm gonna go ahead
Okay.
and put the thingy up. I'll bring the book up.
Okay. Booyah. Spell Matrix. Oh, you're using that. That's not a book. It's close.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RPG Digest. Today, we're going to talk about Earthdawn, specifically about spell matrices, why they exist, what they're for, and by extension, what happens when you don't use them. Now, to really understand it, I got to go a little bit of backstory for those of you who don't already know how Earthdawn basically works. So I'm going to get a little bit of backstory before I get into it, but I hope you guys will stick with me during this time. And while you're doing that, I'd really appreciate it if you like, subscribe, all that really cool stuff, including sharing. Go ahead and watch the rest of the video. And if you like it, comment on it, share it with people. That would be awesome. Anyway, let's get back to our scheduled programming. All right. So we're looking at the Earthdawn book right now. And what we have to look at first is our patterns, because patterns are the basis of why a spell matrix exists. It really is. So I'm going to look at, patterns, magical theory. In Earthdawn, everything, whether it's a person, place, or thing, has a pattern. It is the building block of being real. If you don't have a pattern, you cease to exist. That's it. You know, if you want to kill someone and you have the ability to just tear away their astral pattern, they will die. And that'll be it. That'll be done. Now, the reason I want you to visualize this is because the way you create magic is by pushing raw magical energy through a pattern and using that pattern to shape that energy into the desired effect, whether it be a fireball, grow a rose, or, make someone invisible, whatever spell effect you're looking for, that magic has to be shaped through a pattern. Now, in the times before the horrors, and horrors are other dimensional entities that have a taste for corrupting all life on this planet. Before them, magical energy was relatively safe. You could push it through your own body and use your mind to form it into the pattern you wanted. And when it exited, it would be the spell. It would be the effect, the one you were looking for. And it was relatively harmless. I mean, if you did it wrong, you would take a little bit of damage. As a matter of fact, in Shadowrun, which is the companion game to this one from the original FASA Corporation, they called it strain, or no, I'm sorry. In here they call it strain. There they called it stun damage. That was it. So both have the same kind of mechanic. But when the horrors started invading this world, the magicians and the adepts jumped at them to defend their people, but they found out that the astral space around a horror, even just existing, was corrupted. So when you push the magic through your body like they've been doing for hundreds of years to create a magical effect, it not only caused even more damage, but it could make the spell fail or warp it or cause disastrous things. And it gave the nearby horror the ability to attach itself to your pattern. And you don't want that. That's basically being possessed by a demon. You don't want that. So they had to figure out real quick, because all they have here is magic, right? For offense, defense, pretty much for everything. This is a high magic fantasy society. So pretty much all they had is magic. So if we lose our only weapon against them, we're just going to die. So they had to figure out a way to push magic through a pattern and not die doing it. Well, and they did figure it out. They found out they can use spell matrices. This is a artificial pattern you can push magic through And you can weave that pattern in a way so when the magic comes out, it is formed in the way you want to cast a certain spell, to make a certain effect. Now, I visualize a spell matrix as kind of like a magical dream catcher. It's a, it is a woven thread thing that you push magic through. When it comes out the other side, it is in a specific shape to create a magical effect that you're looking for. And each spell matrix must be attuned by the caster to be a certain configuration. So whenever magic gets pushed through it, it comes out the same way. A fireball, a lightning bolt, invisibility, mind control, whatever. It'll have the same effect. Now, at first, they used physical objects because, you didn't just come up with the eureka moment of creating an artificial astral pattern attached to your body and say, oh, I'll just do that. No, they did the same thing, but with physical things like embroidered robes or special item totems, stuff like that, push magic through. Because remember, all things that are real, exist in reality, have a pattern. So if you take a piece of wood and you can alter the pattern enough, push magic through it, and the magic will be configured on the other side to be the spell you're looking for. Or you can embroider a pattern with magical thread into your clothing, push magic through that part of your clothing, same thing. Now, the problem with this was that if you lost that item or your robe was torn or, dissolved in some way, I don't know, gone, damaged in some way, you lost that ability. You lost that spell matrix and you were boned. So as an evolution of that, the spell matrices talent was created. Now it is an artificial astral pattern that you push magic through to create the spell you're looking for. Sounds great. But what does that really protect you against? Well, here we go. We're gonna look at raw casting now, and we're gonna see exactly what that does. Like, I don't need no matrix. I'm a man. I can do it myself. No, you're just gonna die horribly. But I'm gonna show you how you're gonna die horribly.
Well, hold on. Before you jump into that, I want to clarify a couple things that you said for using your dream catcher analogy. One of the things that people need to understand is that when you reattune a matrix, dream catchers can have different designs internally. Yes. You're changing that internal design, so to speak, using his, if I'm going to continue his analogy. The other thing to think of a spell matrix is, and he'll probably get into this in a moment, is it is a filter. That is its actually important job in this case is as a filter. So the attuning changes its, I always call fourth dimensional, but changes its shape into the spell. And
so when you push magic through it, it will come out consistently the shape you want it on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's right. Spell matrix filter. I touched on that earlier because horrors have a corrupting effect of all magic in their area, even when they're long gone. And if you push magic through your body, you can be damaged by that. That's called casting raw magic. And we're going to look at that right now. The most infrequently used method of spell casting is known as raw magic. Anytime a character casts a spell not in a grimoire, that a grimoire is, of course, a spell book, but a spell book can be used as a spell matrix, a physical one. As long as you have it in your hand, you can do it. Or a regular spell matrix, the astral dream catcher I was talking about earlier, you're pushing it through your body. Using this method, the magician taps directly in astral space to draw forth the magical energy for the spell, channeling it through your body. This almost always damages the magician and can have the harmful side effects described below. Now, I told you, you will take damage even with the purest magic in your area. You still have a chance to take damage because it is stressful for your body because it is based on the astral pattern that you're pushing this raw magic through. You can stress your body and cause some damage. You're going to die from it? Probably not. You might get a nosebleed, a headache, whatever. Do it too much. Well, just like anything, you do it too much, you can die. But that's not the immediate problem. The immediate problem now is the there's a raw magic table. It's down here. There's warping. I touch that horror mark. Where's the raw magic? There it is. Raw magic table. Now, depending on the cleanliness of the magic around you, you will take more or less damage when pushing magic through your body. And there are 4 levels of corruption in astral space: safe, open, tainted, and corrupt. Safe is no horror has ever been there. No horror has touched this area. It was completely safe, always has been. And it is the safest place to use raw magic. You have almost no chance of all of the really serious bad things happening to you, and you're going to take very little or no damage from doing this. And then there's open. Open is an astral space that sometime, maybe 100 years ago, a horror walked by. That's all it took to go from safe to open. 80 to 90% of bar save, the world of this game, is open. Most of it is open, because horrors have been pretty much almost everywhere. But they didn't create carnage anywhere. That is tainted. Tainted is a horror was here and did bad stuff. Stayed here for a while, killed a bunch of people, used a bunch of magic, tore people's souls out, whatever. But he's not there now. But he was a while ago. This is bad. This starts to get to the really, really bad stuff. You're definitely going to take damage casting raw magic, and your spells are definitely going to have not quite the effect you're looking for. That's the warping and stuff like that. But then there's corrupt. Corrupt is there's a horror here right now. This astral space is so cloudy with evil miasma that you're almost guaranteed to hurt yourself badly casting raw magic. You are going to almost definitely get the attention of this horror, and he is almost definitely going to possess you. I can't recommend this. This is a bad idea. Raw magic, for the most part, is a bad idea. Now, the whole other thing about magic, stuff like that, is I said earlier that Shadowrun is a companion game to Earthdawn. It is. The original FASA Corporation had both games. They created both of these games. Shadowrun came first. Earthdawn came afterward. Earthdawn is set something like between 3,000 and 5,000 years in the past. In the fourth age of the world. The fifth age of the world is what we're living in right now. And the sixth age is what is the beginning of the next magical age where Shadowrun starts. And actually, no, now that I think of it, Shadowrun started in 2011 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah, it's an alternate world.
It's an alternate reality now. But
the one thing to note of that, though, for folks who may or may not know the system, they do not use the same mechanics.
No, they use different mechanics, but the same ideas. Now, in Shadowrun, horrors aren't there yet. Magic just reappeared. Horrors don't come until magic gets to a certain level, but it will because magic is cyclical in this universe. It comes and goes, ebbs and flows. And it's just starting to wax at this point. So just starting to get up high enough to cast spells, and soon it'll be high enough for horrors to cross over into our dimensions. But right now, astral space, all of it, almost all of it, like 99% of it is considered safe. You take everyone filters magic through their bodies to create spells, and you just live with the headache or the nosebleed or whatever. Fine. But the later Shadowrun books and FASA Corporation game supplements, stuff like that, started hinting about actual corruption in astral space and effects it has on you, just like in Earthdawn. The more corrupt astral space is, the more damage you take when you are putting magic through your body. And it also in some of the in some of the novels actually touched on netherworld creatures, which are horrors, trying to get to the Shadowrun world, which is exactly what happened to the Earthdawn world. Right? So as magic gets higher and higher, the need for magical buffers, protections, and safeguards become more and more important because of these stupid horrors. Just them walking by corrupts astral space for almost ever. For the length of several lifetimes of a human, astral space will be corrupt there to some level. So you are going to need spell matrices to cast magic. Now, other magical abilities from, say, items or from talents from a non-spell casting adept, stuff like that, they are magical powers, magical effects, but they use so little magic that it's not considered enough to cause you damage for the most part. There are some talents that do cause strain because it's a strain on your body or a strain of magic pushing through, but not enough to get the attention of a horror or to cause any corruption effects, stuff like that. It's mainly focused on spell magic because it uses the lion's share of magic in the astral space around you. It uses a lot of it. Spells are very, very magic intensive, so that's why it gets all of this special consideration. So, what do spell matrices do? Well, it's pretty easy. They keep you safe from the corruption of astral space. That's the main benefit of a spell matrix. Astral space is dirty. This filters out the dirt and at the same time changes the magical energy to the right form so the spell can exist when it comes out the other side. The other benefit is you're no longer pushing magic through your body, so you will never take any damage every time you cast a spell. You will never roll for damage because it's not touching your body, it's touching this artificial astral pattern you made. Great. The secondary benefit is that when you push magic through your body, your whole astral pattern lights up with power. That causes anyone who can see astrally, which is all of these horror construct things, the horrors and horror constructs, they can all see astral space all the time. They will see you and use that as an opportunity to possess you. And that's pretty much game over for most people. That's game over. You don't want that. That's bad. But putting it through this artificial astral pattern, the horror can't get to you because your body is physically divorced from this process. Your pattern is safe. It's the matrix that's glowing, not you. Trying to possess a matrix is stupid. It's not a thinking thing. It won't do anything. So horrors don't do it because it's worthless. So it protects you from damage of the corrupt astral space that exists in almost all of Barsave. And it also protects you from being possessed by a horror who happens to be around when you use magic. So that's what a spell matrix is for. That's how it works. That's why it's useful and why it's necessary in the world of Earthdawn.
All right, now for the other half. The other half of the show.
The other half of the show. Would be
no,
great.
because so what you guys don't know out there is there's somebody who made some comments about Earthdawn, and said that I think he used the word nonsensical if I remember correctly, and found that there's some subsystems in Earthdawn that are nonsensical, and this is one of them. Even though he loved the lore, so he now gave a great background on and you could fact check every dotted I cross T that's not important. He gave you the important meat of what is there, of why they're there in lore, what they're about, so forth. But here's a couple of game aspects that I think are important to also finish answering that dude's question or possible concerns. So in Earthdawn, let's arbitrarily say you're a new character, and I'm not going to go exactly by the rules. I'm going to use easy numbers for folks. You start the game and you have 5 spells. Okay. You start the game typically with 2 matrices. You have spell matrix 1 and spell matrix 2.
Yep.
think of that for D&D players, or even not Palladium players. There is no analog. For D&D,
Memorization.
think of it as like your memorization, okay? But it's not that. But I want you to think of it like that for these purposes here. So you have 5 spells, but you only have 2 of them memorized at any one time. But here's where Earthdawn differs completely. First of all, I can cast that spell. Now, Heathen Dog didn't get into threads at all. I don't know if he should have or should. Well, I can see why you should. I can also see why it starts to confuse the situation, because I'm going to have to talk about threads a little bit in what I'm saying here. A spell so every spell has a number of threads. Basically, think of that as casting time. I'm going to leave it at that. Think of that as casting time, though. Well, a spell matrix holds 1 thread, which basically reduces the casting time by 1 round. Okay? That's an important feature. So now you have a spell a little bit more at the ready than if you're casting it raw or grimoire or whatever. That's one.
Well, hang on. The more powerful the spell, commonly the more threads it requires before it goes off.
Yes. That's why some spells might take 3 or 4 rounds to cast. But here's the other part of that. You can cast that spell back to back to back to back to back to back. Now, first edition and 4th edition are different. In 1st edition, most of the combat spells, even at first circle, have 1 thread, and that's after putting in the matrix. So that means you can't cast it literally every round. You have to cast it, then you have to thread weave, then cast it, then thread weave, then cast. So you're casting every other round. 4th edition did get rid of that for low-level casters, and now you can do lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
Well, the earth dart, fire dart,
those all required a thread.
Really?
Yes, every one of them. So people complained about that all the time. Well, the sword master can fight every round, but I have to thread weave and I can only do stuff every other round. Yeah, but you were doing it from way back there, dum dum.
Yeah. The sword master has to get up close and personal and be in range of being stabbed in the face. Whereas you can stay at the tree line or behind the fighter or behind the wagon and go pew pew pew. You have a gun. He has a knife. I'm sorry, you got to reload.
And we've seen Spirit Grip mess some people up.
Yes.
Now, and that's a first circle spell. Now, my point in saying this is, unlike D&D, where you cast that spell and your memorization is lost, you don't have that in Earthdawn. The delaying factor comes in how many threads it has and so forth. Okay, so that's 1. 2, in Earthdawn, let's say you have, I should use Earthdawn spells, but I can't remember them all right now. Bone Dance and Spirit Grip. I love my Nethermancers, right? But let's use D&D spells to make it easier for some other folks, or generic sounding spells. You've got Fireball and Speak Languages in your matrix, right? But crap, you need Spider Climb. Good news for you. I only have 1 question for you. Do you have 10 minutes or do you need it this second? If you have 10 minutes, you freely change that spell. You meditate.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna take you aside and explain that one. The spell matrix, just like in old TSR D&D, where you had to memorize spells at the beginning of the day, and then you had that spell until you cast it once. In Earthdawn, at the beginning of the day, or whenever you have, like you said, 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, you can realign your spell matrix Dreamcatcher to look and act differently, to create a different spell when you push magic through it.
Yep.
So you can adjust the spell that comes out the other end in between 10 and 30 minutes.
And if you have 10 minutes, it's free. You just do it. You have to sit and meditate for 10 minutes. You basically think of it as closing your eyes, and you got one of those computer games going on, or you got one of those movies going on where they're readjusting, and in his case, the Dreamweaver, whatever you want to visualize it as, and you're restringing that thing so that it makes a different pattern, it glows, whatever else, right? Yeah. Again, if we want to put up a thumbnail, that you could argue that bottom little circle there is kind of the spell matrix.
That is a physical spell matrix. That is a ritual circle that you push magic through and it creates a magical effect. That is a physical spell matrix right there.
Now, let's say you need to do it. I need to do this now.
I'm going to die. I need Spider Climb or I'm going to fall off a freaking cliff.
Well, you're probably going to die anyway. But with that said, good news. You can do what's called reattuning on the fly. However, here are the complications with that. Number 1, it's not free. You have to roll, and the number's not easy.
No.
Okay. 2, if you fail, you've dislodged the original spell, and you don't get the new one.
Now you've got nothing. In that
In
spell
that
matrix has no more dream catcher strings in it. You broke
Right.
them all.
But if you succeed, you now have spider climb. Again, we're using D&D spells for this because it's just easier for us at this moment. You now have that spell, and you can cast it next round. And if it requires threads, well, you can thread weave next round, then cast it the round after.
Now, the only other option you have is raw magic. Now,
Well,
any
casting from a
spell
grimoire
that
and then
you
raw magic.
know, any spell that you know you can cast all the time, every time, 100% of the time.
Yep.
You just have to push the magic through your body.
And you will suffer at least a little bit of damage because even the lowest or even open or even safe space has a minor amount of damage tied to it. And if you want to bring that back up, and then you might be suffering the warping and the potential horror marking as well. I think it's step 5 plus the circle of spell, if I remember correctly.
Well, if it's safe, it's very, very low. You can actually save it. I mean,
sure. I mean, yeah, your mystic armor can defend against it.
Yeah. Let me see here.
But
where are we?
The point, raw magic is not smart to cast, but it can be a desperation.
Yeah.
The
I mean, if
thing
you're going
is
to die anyway, I mean, why not, right?
Sure. And one thing Earthdawn is good at is, dying in a blaze of glory. But the important part of this in terms of game mechanics, you might see that as a subsystem, but what I liked about it in an improvement over Dungeons and Dragons is, well, I'm just out of spells. Oh, I didn't rest for 8 hours. Oh, I didn't do all these other things that you just can't do in the course of the game. Well, circle plus 4. Okay. So minimum step 5 is a D8. So minimum of D8 damage, but your mystic armor, I think, protects you from that.
I mean, if you roll a 1 on that, you'll have 5. People starting at circle 3 or 4 can have 4 or 5 mystic armor. That's not unheard of. So you may take no damage at all.
Yeah. And you're going to have in Earthdawn, you'll have between 30 and 50 some hit points as well to start the game. They don't use hit points, but just so that's a D8. Now, yes, damage does explode. So if you roll an 8, you could do more, but the chances of that are pretty low. At 8, so it's 12% chance of that happening. But you get the idea. You're not going to take a lot. So hey, but are you going to be in a safe space? Probably not. I'm more concerned about the warping and the horror marking than I am the damage part of it usually. But those are the considerations. So even as Heathdog was saying, so you got those 2 spells in your or you got those matrices. Let me say it in proper terms. You have those 2 matrices attuned to the 2 spells you wanted, which I forgot what they were, tongues and fireball, but you need spider climb. You theoretically could just pull rod magic through you. Good luck. And do the spider climb. So you have all these different ways of casting. The purpose of matrix casting is to be safe.
Yes. The creation of spell matrices was a direct result of the horror's invasion of this universe and what they do to magic around them. If you're going to fight them, you have to be around them. And if you're going to be around them, you need to filter out the corrupting effect that they just exist with. That's where spell matrices came into play. That's why they were invented. And they're still used to this day because the corruption lasts for the adult version of forever.
I don't know if in the real world today, he's talking game today, but in real world today, if Earthdawn, if Lou Prosperi and I guess Jordan Weissman and them were to make Earthdawn today, I don't know if they would use that same magical construct because you can tell its roots in Vancian magic. It's seething with those roots in Vancian magic, but they wanted to improve upon it. But it really is an improvement to Vancian magic. I love the give and take of Earthdawn magic. The spells to me are kind of meh, but I love the give and take of Earthdawn magic because this is going to take me forever to cast a spell. But if you guys keep me alive, guess what's happening?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you have to spend 3 rounds casting a spell, if you get that spell off, you're probably going to win.
Yeah.
You're probably going to win. Staying alive for those 3 rounds might be a problem, but that's what the fighters and the sword masters are for.
Yep. So, and the fact that you can cast it especially if you do 4th edition now, where there are 0 threads for those earlier combat spells, you can spirit grip, or what is it? It's Earth Dart, Spirit Grip, Ephemeral Bolt, and
Bolt.
what was yours? Wizard one?
Oh, I forget.
Yeah,
I mean, I never really played 4th edition, so.
Well, no, it's the same spell name though.
I forget. I completely forget.
Anyway,
I mean, I was not
Mind Dagger. Mind Dagger.
Mind Dagger. That's it. Okay, yeah. What I used support spells a lot more
Yeah, that is
than I
true.
used attack spells. Yeah.
So, so whether you have to, and again, waiting around to me and having Eric, with his Earth Darts, roll a thread to weave a thread. We're not going to get into all that because you can fail in other places as well. And that's the other thing. You're rolling as a caster, no saving throw. You're rolling as a caster, effectively like an attack roll, to hit the opponent. But instead of trying to beat a physical defense, you're trying to beat what used to be spell defense. It's now called mystic defense, depending what edition you're playing. But either way, you're trying to beat that. And if you roll your spell casting higher than his spell defense number, boom, you're in. And what does a matrix have to do with that? Nothing directly, except for the fact that you can continue to do this without danger.
Yes. You can do it over and over and over, and it is 100% safe from the things we talked about.
Yeah, there you go.
From the corrupting influence of altered astral space, and from being marked by a horror, possessed, which is the same thing as being marked by horror, is possessed by horror. It won't happen to you as long as you use a spell matrix. Now, as you go up in level, you get better matrices.
Yes.
You get ones that can hold an extra thread.
Yep.
Or ones that can't be attacked, because these things exist in astral space. Guess what also exists in astral space? All horrors. They exist in both physical and astral space at the same time. They can see your matrix. So if you want to screw a spellcaster over, if you attack their matrix and destroy it, they can't cast a spell through it anymore.
That doesn't happen at very low circles, but starting at the low mid circles, things like that happen. And there are four types of matrices. There's a standard matrix that we've been talking about. And I don't want to dive too deeply into the other ones, but there's the enhanced matrix, which, as he said,
holds a thread.
Thread. Then there's one that actually holds multiple spells. I forget what that one's called.
Then there's the armored matrix.
Then there's the armored matrix, which can be attacked, but it has its own armor rating. So you actually have to do X amount of damage, or it just shrugs it off.
Yeah, or it just bounces off. That's just how it is.
Now, what happens when you kill a matrix? It's gone for a I forget what it is. I think it's a day. Don't quote me on that. I haven't done this I haven't actually attacked a matrix in a long time. But you actually end that matrix.
Yeah, if it's gone. It's gone until you rebuild it from scratch, and that takes time.
Yeah, I think it's a day, unless it's a physical matrix, like he was talking about earlier. Robes.
Then it's just you have to make a new one.
I think that's the case. Somebody can fact check us on that one. But why is this not up again? I have to know that we're in the segment. There we go. But yeah, ultimately, so there are more things that happen with Matrix that probably isn't good for us to dive too deeply into unless he wants to, but to show that those things grow with the characters as well. Earthdawn, why I love the game so much, is almost every aspect of the game is about character growth. With some is through mechanics, some is through your legend and just building that as your character and how he interfaces with the world, but it's about the growth. Magic itself grows with you. You get a magic item. You use those threads that we were talking about before, and you grow. That item grows with you. So it isn't
hang on. If you all remember, I was saying that you can be marked by a horror very, very easily if you use raw magic. That's true. How the horror does that is he attaches his astral pattern to your astral pattern with a thread. This connects you inexorably with the horror. Magic items, unlike in old D&D where you just pick it up and you use it, you have to attach your pattern to its pattern to use its power. In the same way, you're not possessing it. I can say more like you're fueling it with your living magic to activate its abilities. You could look at it like that.
Now, what's funny is, as he's diving into this, and we're going to get really into the weeds for this one, spellcasting is the same thing. It's just it's a temporary thread.
Yep.
So anyway, not gonna dive into the lore of that anymore. Earthdawn, I would have to actually do a little research on myself because it's been a while since I've studied Earthdawn, but it's my favorite game.
If you want me to do more stuff on Earthdawn, background, lore, specific stuff, I mean, I could go on just astral patterns all day because everything comes back to the astral pattern.
Everything magical or alive,
Everything has a pattern. Everything needs a pattern. Naming things makes them stronger because it makes the pattern more complex. All that stuff. I could get into it. So go ahead and super thank on and put the thing back up. Where is it?
Well, we got one
There it
question
is,
I
right
want
here.
to answer.
There it is. If you comment and share and do all that stuff, that's great. But if you super thank or donate money to, hey, I want to know more about Earthdawn patterns, stuff like that, then you and everyone like you will get their wish, and you will get the whole thing about astral patterns and how magic can work and all that stuff. You have slides, you have all the things, all the books we can get on PDF. We'll do it. It's all great. Now, what was that question you want to answer?
Well, so got this question here I got to decipher, but the other thing is my intent after Dead Rain is to cover Earthdawn.
4th edition, right?
Probably.
Gross.
Because it is the current edition of the game. But we'll see. The reason being is because if we're not going to be around in 2027, it would just be absolutely wrong for me never to cover fully in-depth Earthdawn. So the circle 1 spell difficulty is at step 50 and goes down. I don't know what he's trying to ask here necessarily. I've read it a couple times, but here, let me
Okay,
So-
circle 1 spell difficulty is usually you have to roll a single digit number using your spell casting. If you fail, it's like you did not push enough magic or you failed to direct the magic through your spell matrix. And so there wasn't enough, or it didn't come out the other side. So it wasn't spell shaped. So it didn't do spell stuff. That's usually what it means when you fail your spell casting roll. Right? You didn't burn anything. You didn't damage your matrix. You can try again next round if you want.
Can you bring
know?
a low level spell up? Just show him
Sure.
a low level spell real quick. It doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, let me get to it. Table of contents.
So how you cast a spell is the following. Well, he's getting that on there. Let's just go with something just a touch complex. Actually, if he does it on 1st edition, it's good. It's guaranteed. You have to make what's called a thread weaving test. Okay, so in the first round, and I'm not going to go into weaving multiple threads or you're getting extra successors or whatever else. We're going to keep this simple. In the first round, you say, I want to cast Mind Dagger, whatever spell he picks. I don't know.
Crushing Will.
Crushing Will. There we go. He wants. Oh, is that your first level? Maybe that's it.
Yep.
Okay. So he wants to cast Crushing Will. He says 1 thread. So what that means is that he has to make a thread weaving test. The weaving difficulty for that, you see there's 2 numbers there. It says 8 and 16. He has to roll an 8 or higher on whatever his thread weaving is. So let's say he's first circle. He's first circle, but he put a couple points into that too. He's probably got a high perception, which is going to be 5 or 6. We'll say 6. So that's step 8. Step 8 is 5. Oh, so 8, 10. I think it's 2d6 off the top of my head, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I'm going to average 7. So I got to get a little bit above average to hit the threshold, which is 8.
Yep.
And that's all I need. That's all I need for this thing to work.
And if he doesn't, it just means that the thread isn't there. And as long as now, if he's got a spell that has like 9 threads, none have that many. But if he has a spell that has like 9 threads, okay? If he fails on thread 4, he doesn't bomb the entire spell. He's just stuck at thread 4 until he gets the next one. Okay. So don't think like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose all my threads. That doesn't happen unless there's an instance or something that causes that to happen. We'll just leave it at that. So, but once the only rule in the game is you cannot cast a spell in the same round that you thread weave. You can possibly weave 5 threads in 1 round. We won't get into that, but you can do it. But you still have to wait until the next round to cast it. Right. Then he makes what's called a spell. Then that second round, he makes a spell casting test. And let's just say once again, he's got 2 points into that. Well, so we'll just use the same numbers because it would be the same in that case. So he's got step 8. So he's rolling 2d6 again versus the target's spell defense, which is usually between around 8 or 9.
Between 1 and 10. Now I'm first circle. I'm
9,
probably not fighting someone with a 10, probably more like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So on average, I'm probably going to make my weaving test, and on average, I'm probably going to affect my target.
Right. And if he casts it, if the spell casting test fails, well, he casts the spell, but his Crushing Will didn't crush anything, unfortunately.
It didn't crush
and
any
his spell dissipates, but he can try again. He has to weave the thread, but he can try again. He just keep doing this until he doesn't want to or he's dead. If he makes it, if he equals, what'd you say, 7? Did you say that's is that the spell defense you were going against?
7 or 8, yeah.
Okay, let's just say it's 7. He's casting against a spell defense. My spell defense is 7, and he's using Crushing Will on me. He gets at 7, or he gets a 10, or he gets whatever, right? He beat me. That means I take that damage. Let's not dive into what Will Force is right now, but he rolls his willpower / will force +5. So if his willpower, and it's step, not value. So if his willpower, again, he's a caster, he's going to want to have a high willpower. So let's say his willpower step is 5 or 6. No, 6, at least 6. 6 + 5 is 11. That means he's rolling step 11 damage against me.
Step 11 is significant, especially if you're fighting a regular person. A regular person might die from that damage. A regular Joe could easily die from a single application of Crushing Will.
Right. So always know this about steps. And I didn't learn this until 4th edition. I felt really stupid when I found this out, and I didn't know it for the decades beforehand. Whatever step you roll, that's the average roll for that step. So that means the average amount of damage I'm going to take from him is 11 points of damage if he has a willpower of 6.
Yep.
That's actually a lot, because mystic armor, physical armor tends to be anywhere from like 3 to 10.
But
mystic armor
a lot
tends
of
to
magic
be like,
will bypass physical armor, and magic armor is not as common as throwing on, some chainmail, right?
And
not as
this
common.
right here, it says physical armor has no effect against Crushing Will. That means this is going to attack my mystic armor, and most people have between like 0 and 3. So if he gets that average of 11, I'm taking 8 points of damage. If I have 3 mystic armor, let's say it's high, at low circle, that'd be high. I take 3 points of damage. That's probably a wound. Now we're diving into other concepts of the game.
But you are severely injured if you're not just straight up dead. You are severely injured.
So
one spell.
Anywho,
first circle spell, first level, basically spell, and a normal person would probably just die. Just think what a 3rd, 4th, and 5th level spell will do. Oh my God.
What was that one that orb, that freaking
the razor orb.
Razor orb. That was nuts, man.
That was crazy. It's a magical ball of spinning razor wire that you cast on somebody, and it basically shreds all their flesh off.
Yeah, it actually has, if I remember, either has a line or area and effect of attack, and everything like in its way. It just goes to, think of tumbleweed with barbed wire.
Oh yeah.
So
it's absolutely crazy. You just die if you get hit by it. That's what we said. If you are casting a 5th circle spell, I mean, sure, it's going to take 2-3 rounds to go off, but if it does, you're probably going to win that fight.
Yeah. I know you messed up one of my encounters with that spell. Either you or Garthon, I forget who it was. I think it was you.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah, you're gonna win.
Hey, but that's the fun of it, right? That's why you get that. And if you last long enough to stay alive,
that's why it's so hard to cast those spells. That's why these threads, take so much time. Because if it goes off, it's a nuke. Magic in this game is the best. Magic is everything in Earthdawn.
Literally,
everything.
Yes.
There is no technology. There is no gun. There is no, giant, spin the crank machine gun like they had in the Wild West or whatever. None of that crap. It's all magic. So they make magical siege stuff.
Yep.
And they make it hurt bad.
One of the things that I think that 4th edition lost, and I know this is getting a little off track, but I think this is important to say for people who are watching this, like, oh my God, it's all 1st edition stuff. Look, I think that in general, 4th edition is a better system outside of combat. After running 4th edition in a playtest and with a real group, I have learned that 1st edition, and this includes spellcasting, folks, is so much better when it comes to combat because of the armor defeating hits. Not just players' reactions to armor defeating hits, but how armor defeating hits change the course of stuff. Because I promise you this, the Razor Orb doesn't impress me nearly as much. Crushing Will doesn't impress me nearly as much because, you're never going to get an armor defeating hit So sure, you'll roll a couple extra steps of damage. Ooh, look, you average 2 more points of damage for getting 5 higher than the target number. No, armor defeating hits are where it's at. That's
Yeah,
the
where it's at.
one weakness of 4th edition that I really think that it missed the mark on.
But if you want us to talk more about that, well, you're going to have to,
Right. Yeah. So
Give us
I
some
do
stuff.
plan on covering Earthdawn, probably 4th edition. If you specifically, and here's what I'll say, because I'll be reading the magic chapter when we go through that. But if you want a how-to, like, nope, stop. I have this spell. Here's my character. Or create a character at X circle, and I want you to cast this spell, including rolling the dice and everything. Absolutely, ask him to knock that out.
Yeah, I will make it step-by-step tutorial on how to do it. I got my dice roller. I'll roll the dice in front of you. We'll all see what happens together, and you'll understand it from top to bottom.
Yeah, because us speaking like we are right now, without showing you numbers, probably confuses people who don't even know. I mean, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, but also not an hour long. Probably confuses.
In the beginning of this thing, I stayed away from threads and extra threads and all that stuff because I wanted you to understand the basic concept of a spell matrix, why it exists, what it's for, what it does. That's basically all I wanted to say. Everything else, I'm going to have to show numbers and graphs and all that stuff for everyone to understand.
But anywho, I love the step system. I love this game. I'm gonna let him close this out here, and then I'll brag a little more about not brag. I'll rave a little more about Earthdawn, and there we go.
All right. Again, please, if you got to this far, hey, thanks a lot, and you must have enjoyed it. So please like, comment, share, hype, super thank, subscribe, do all the great stuff. And remember, if you want specific Earthdawn into a deep dive, specific parts of it, any part that you or your game table or your game master or whatever has a problem with or it doesn't seem to fully grasp, hey, maybe I can help. Throw some ducats my way. I'll give you a personalized video with charts and graphs and all that stuff so everyone will get it. That will really seriously help our channel. And sometimes I like my spreadsheets. I like my slideshows.
And they work perfectly for this.
Yeah, and it works perfectly for stuff like this. So yeah, go ahead and throw me some ducats like an old-timey stripper, and I will give you what you want. Wow, that sounded bad. Okay, but bye.
I'm not cutting that.
I know you're not.
All right. No, and if anybody thinks that we dove a little too deeply into the rabbit holes there, that's part of the thing about Earthdawn, though. Like when this guy said subsystem, I'm not mad at him for saying it. I see his point. The thing is so much is tied in this game. Things are tied to other things, are tied to other things, are tied to other things. And in my head, I'm like, I just confused everybody by saying this. Okay, hold on. But the one thing we did have to talk about how you use the matrices in the game, because this is where the guy had his question. It's like, it's a subsystem I don't get. So why do you have 2 of them? Well, that's just what they picked. It's a talent. What is its purpose? Well, he gave absolutely a fantastic lore version of it, but in a game mechanics version, what's the purpose? Well, the purpose is because of Vancian magic, and now you can cast shit every round. Because would you want to cast raw magic every round? That's worse than DCC. At least in DCC, you just get some horns and maybe a long fingernails or something. Here, you die.
Yeah, if you could take enough damage to frickin' melt, or you can be possessed by an Asian demon, which is worse than almost every other kind of demon. It's that those Japanese and Korean ghosts are nasty. They never go away, and you can never beat them. That's kind of like what real horrors are.
A couple things about horrors when it comes to that. You're not automatically marked.
No, it's if they're around and they see it.
Well, they
get a roll. If you use raw magic, they get an automatic roll.
Well,
they get a roll.
Right. And here's the thing that people, first of all, you can, if the roll fails, the roll fails. But depending on the power of the horror, the roll's probably not going to fail. Now you could have lighter horrors, and maybe as a game master, you don't always want to have everything to be some sort of epic horror. I get that. But once it ties a thread to you, in order for it to tie, because every year in one day it gets to re-up it, it doesn't have to think about it. It can just be like, do I still want to use this fool or no? And of course its answer is yes.
Yeah, of course it is. And the thing is, most of the time, like 90% of the time, unless the horror actively, excuse me, meat puppets you or has you do something for it, or pushes evil corrupting magic through you, you probably don't know that you're possessed.
Right.
And it can just wait on you.
Yep.
Just keep you in its back pocket. Distance doesn't matter, only time. Every year and a day, he has to spend a karma point, I think, or whatever, to keep
He's got 400.
oh no, I've got 80 of them, whatever. To keep that tether attached to your soul. But doesn't have to tell you it's there, doesn't have to show his cards until it's the most advantageous for him. Horrors are intelligent. Most of them are intelligent. So he's going to wait until he can get the maximum effect. And then he's going to use you to kill everyone around you.
Yep. And horrors act in different ways. There's an entire book on horrors. It's not a big book, but it's an entire book on horrors. Some literally make you do stuff. Some manipulate your mind. Some manipulate the people around you. Some are, horrors act in different ways. I don't even like, even though this is the example I use, I tend to call them demons because it's the easiest thing for people to understand, but they're beyond that. Like he said, they're kind of like the Asian demons, right?
Yeah, the Asian ghosts that are just everywhere all the time and they never really go away. You can only trap them for a while, like in the body of a little girl or frog or some shit. That's all you get. Maybe, no, hang on. Jewish ghosts can be trapped in boxes.
So a horror construct can be trapped in a box. I don't think a horror itself can be. Although death, to be fair, death is trapped under Death's Sea, but that took a lot of people, and the Scourge
probably a lot.
Also, horrors corrupted the gods. Now they don't call them gods in the game; they're called passions. Horrors corrupted 3 gods. So no, you're not going to be the guy that gets out of this. So there was another question here.
Well, while he's looking for that question, to be fair, these gods were not corrupted instantly. They were corrupted over hundreds of years, but still, they're
corrupted into their nature.
Yeah.
But they're corrupted into like a revolt. So Dis is a perfect example. Dis used to be the god of like basically bureaucracy. Kind of, but it was more like efficiency and bureaucracy and kind of let's get things done and get it done in a manner and save the information, yada yada, right? He's now the bad type of bureaucracy.
Yeah, the red tape kind.
Yes. But I thought there was maybe
DCC. Dungeon Crawl Classics. That's a game. You want to look at our back catalog. We did a thing on that. Magic in there is corrupting on its own. If you use magic, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when your body just turns into a demon looking crone thing. That's just it.
And you can eject horrors. It's not easy.
No,
but it can be done. So just because you're horror mark doesn't mean. In fact, I got to be honest with you, I never really liked it, even though I did it to your group, and I also did it to the group beforehand. There's a module out there that requires you to take a horror mark, and I never even liked it back then. I still did it because my mentality was I need you to understand how dangerous and bad horrors were. In fact, I used to have this thing. I probably wouldn't do it anymore, but I used to have this thing. My first 3 groups that I ran. Anytime I said the word horror, they had to go, and the reason was I needed to have that built into them. This reaction is it's like calling somebody a witch during Salem witch trial times. This isn't something you throw out.
There is a significant chance you're going to get that person burnt at the stake if you call them a witch.
And they did it. Well, Bob did it, but his group did it. And in fact, he ended up causing the guy that had the horror in his head to get killed.
Causing? I made a choice. All right.
Yep. Which caused him to get killed.
I made a choice. And if I made the other choice, I would be going against my nature. And in 1st edition, that was a no-no.
It still is.
It's not as bad in 4th edition. Come on.
If you go word for word by the Adept's Way, even the Adept's Way says, you can make up your own. The reason why I always had you guys follow the book on it is because, especially you, well, not just you guys, but also my group from Minnesota, we're always trying to find ways around things. Like, ooh, how can I take not a Gahad? I'm thinking that's an orc. how can I take a violation that I'll never actually ever run into? No, that isn't how this is supposed to work. So with you guys, I was like, nope. Just take what it says in the book. That's how we're going to do it. But theoretically, you could have other things that are violations. You can twist it as long as it stays within that theme. But anywho, as far as folks who are listening, if that was too generic, if that was like, wow, you covered a lot of things that we didn't fully understand there, that's fine. It was meant to be that way to some degree. And if you want that focus, just ask him. And or when I cover it, you can ask me like, hey, can you stop at this and actually show this in action? And I can theoretically do that. And he is right. I will probably do 4th edition. I don't want to.
For many reasons.
I don't know. We'll see. I probably do because it's the right edition to do. It's the current one out there. But well, between Josh
First and
Harrison,
second issue have much more flavor.
Yeah, between Josh Harrison, completely, and Morgan Weeks, Morgan Weeks was the guy who updated the spells and so forth. There's a lot to be said that 4th edition did well. It put things with better numbers. 1st edition is not balanced. It's not balanced at all. But it's not meant to be. 4th edition is much more balanced and makes much more sense. However, it's also much more mundane, much more homogenous, and much more boring. 3rd edition ruined the game. We like to blame 4th edition, but the true answer is 3rd edition ruined it. That's where the true homogenation came in, where Nethermancers could take weaponsmith abilities and stuff like that.
Which is crazy because if you want to buy this, you can. But the whole way that anyone uses magic, any kind of magic in this game, is to alter their own pattern to do magical effects. Sword masters are masters of the sword using magic because they altered their own pattern to become a sword master. That means that you have to think and act like a sword master, or your pattern will revert and you will potentially lose the ability to use magic altogether. That was the whole idea. That was the point. Magical patterns are everything. If you name something, it changes the pattern. This is no longer a mouse. This is Heathen Dog's mouse of ultimate destruction. If I name it that, then it changes the pattern.
Be careful,
and it's
though.
now something different.
You can't just randomly name something one time and change it. I want to be clear about that.
I'm giving this as a simple example. Right. But if I start using my mouse as, say, something to heal wounds, I don't know how I would do that, but I'm not using it for its purpose. I'm in fact going against its named purpose. Then it will cause it to change again, and it will no longer do what I wanted originally to do. Same thing with people. Same thing with items. Same thing all the way around. The pattern is the thing.
In fact, one of the reasons the Therans have such a hard time, though they're the big bad empire, they have such a hard time taking over Barsave, is because the name Barsave itself was kind of, not corrupted. It was changed, and it kind of is now, just by its very nature and its very name, is something that's hard to tame for the Theran Empire because of being renamed. It's a vague way of doing it, but an entire country, in effect, is now more difficult because of its own naming.
It changed it just enough so it's magically different.
Yeah, it means
now
Barsave itself doesn't mean anything, but the land of Barsave, absolutely, because they keep resisting the Therans and it's working and it's the only one that works. Well, guess what? Now it works even better because Barsave is Barsave.
Yeah,
it's weird.
The name now has a different meaning. It's got layers of complexity. This is my sword. If I kill 100 orcs with my sword, I can say this is the Orc Slayer sword. And it changes the sword. It makes it more complex.
Anytime he fights orcs, he gets a +2 to attack.
Yeah. Every time I fight orcs, I now get bonuses to hit or damage or both or whatever, because it is the magic orc slaying sword. And if I become famous for slaying orcs, it is now Heathen Dog's orc slaying sword. It's even more magical. I've added more complexity to the item. Now it can do more. Now maybe I do a bonus to hit and damage, or I defeat all armor of orcs. You know, the more complex the name, the more magical effects you can have. And you get magical, you get names by either being named by a name giver, which is a PC race, or through acts or deeds or whatever, to and all
Meaningful
of these things
events,
can change the pattern of an item or the pattern of a person to create a new item or a new person. Yeah, I said new person. If you radically change your pattern, you will be basically a new person.
Elves actually do that as part of their life paths.
Yeah, because they live so long. The only way they get zest for life is to change their pattern to become something different. That way, life is new again.
All right. Well, we don't really have much else to talk about. Well, I only had like a segment and a half today. He had this one here. I know we can talk about Earth all day.
We can talk
all
about
night.
Earthdawn for hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I'm gonna be thinking about over the next few weeks. I did originally say that Dead Rain was gonna be 40 videos, and I still have my note cards of the 40 videos. I'm looking through this, and
There's stuff you can chalk.
yeah, we're gonna continue. We're gonna cover the death cults. We're gonna cover the half living, the Hound Master, basically the various weird OCCs and so forth. So there's still gonna be a lot of that. However, I think I'm going to skip things like notable resources, gasoline stations, pawn shops. Now, these are important features to the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think that they're necessary for our coverage, unless, of course, somebody wants to pay for it.
Hey, wait.
I think,
Do they have a mechanic where oil-based petroleum products degrade over time?
I don't think so, but
Darn it.
I mean, I haven't fully read that part. Definitely going to skip the equipment, and I don't think I even need to cover like the different adventures. Now, no, we would never cover all of them. Or let me rephrase that. We'd never dive into them anyway. But it's got kind of the adventure seeds that you might remember from like Dinosaur Swamp, and then there's character creation, and I will come back to that. So I'm not cutting out a million. Hand-to-hand combat, have to cover that. Horror factor and perception, cover that. Range combat, I'll cover that. Game rules for zombie combat, I'll see what that actually is, because there's a specific session for game rules for zombie combat and skill rules, and I don't know why, but I'll see if those are needed. So I'm not cutting out too many videos, but I'm probably cutting out a good 2 to 3 weeks worth. So at least that's the intent. So I'll have time after that. And like I said, if we're not going to be around, at least not like this in 2027, I'll talk more about that in the members only, because I have a lot of people now starting to talk to me about, I think people are starting to realize that this is serious, about, options for 2027. We can talk about that in members only. But if I don't cover Earthdawn, this is a failed channel. Okay. And to be fair, I have a bunch of Earthdawn videos out there. They're really old, but they're still on target. They are still good. People still watch them. I still get comments on them. People still like them, but they're about the specific disciplines, basically character classes. So if you want to know how disciplines are both stuck in a box, but also universally unique, or you're free within there to be, not every illusionist is the exact same thing, you'll love those videos, because I go into game mechanics, I go into lore, and disciplines are just, I love the disciplines of this game. So anything else you want to talk to the folks there?
Well, everyone's saying like it seems a little complicated. It's not complicated, but there,
like I said, a lot of options.
Yeah, a lot of options. But once you understand the base of it, like if you can almost all but fully understand how patterns work, why they're there, what they do, everything else falls into place.
And
everything
if that
else
doesn't
makes
happen,
sense.
If you can't grasp it, because I had players that they still couldn't grasp it, the rules are clear enough for you just to follow the step. The process.
Yes. You can do it. Just roll the right dice and it'll work, right? You don't have to understand it to do it. But if you understand how patterns work, how astral patterns work, why they're there, what they do, everything else will link to that successful knowledge and make sense.
By the way, this game does a great job of carrying out. 4th edition changed this a little bit in a manner that I don't agree with, but I understand why. It was for consistency. But it kind of walks you through things. If you're a normal character, you're not a magician. So what we were talking about earlier, I would actually argue that a first circle character in Earthdawn is kind of weaker than a first level D&D character. I don't mean in necessarily hit points. You're going to be missing a lot more. That's the main thing, is you're not going to have, you're going to be missing a lot more than you want to, and your damage is going to be low because the armor is going to soak a lot of it. It does not take long to get past first circle into second and a third. Around third, you start feeling, okay, I'm pretty normal now. 4th is when they start kicking things in. 4th is when now you get thread weaving. Every discipline gets thread weaving. Wizards had it first, but and all now the world opens up to you.
Yeah. All of your spellcasters get thread weaving at first circle because it's necessary to cast magic.
Cast the spells, yeah.
Absolutely necessary. Now, when you get to 4th circle, everyone else can get thread weaving because it is necessary to attach a thread from you to anything else, like a magic item.
Yep.
So you can't use magic items until you have thread weaving, and only spellcasters get thread weaving until 4th circle or 4th level.
Now, my house rule was wizards or magicians could not use thread weaving to attach to a magic item.
That's just his house rule. That's not the
house
rule
rule
of the game.
Until 4th circle. What 4th edition did is it gave everybody thread weaving at first circle. I don't like handing out magic items that soon. So what I said, you use thread weaving to cast your spells. Think of that as the temporary threads. And then you want permanent threads. That's going to happen at 4th circle like everybody else. But then 5th circle, holy balls, dude. You could actually spend the next like 2-3 years of your game never circling up and spending all your legend points on group patterns and magic items and I want to be a light bringer. I want.
Remember, we were talking about tying a thread to a magical item to unlock its power. If you tie a thread to another person, that is a severely more complex pattern than your average, run-of-the-mill magic weapon, right? And what happens is you're both living creatures, which means magic will actually flow between you. And it can actually give a permanent increase to your stats or to your skills or to your talents or whatever, just because you and he are sharing your souls, basically.
I mean, that's a tight bond.
It is tight.
If one of them dies,
you're in trouble. Yeah. You're in a little trouble. It's very much like a wizard and familiar. In most games, if the familiar dies, you are punished severely for that. Temporarily and sometimes make sure permanently.
That's with the players who are consistent every week and not the one that like might drop out of the game.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to tie your pattern to that Yahoo. You don't want that. No. But there is a whole campaign. What is it called? Not shattered pattern. That's
Blades?
Blades, there it is. Yeah, a whole campaign called Blades, where the whole thing is you must have a group pattern and you must tie yourself to each other. And these magic items. It's the only way to actually win. It's kind of like the only way out is through. Like you have to go through a group pattern? Oh yeah, you have to have a group pattern. Oh yeah. Yeah. The only way out is through. You have to go through the tunnel to get to the light on the other side and kill the horror, stuff like that,
which they did in one round.
Yeah, well, we didn't have to go into that, but yeah. we did really well in that one, but a lot of people wouldn't. So it's
so don't consider it complex. Consider a lot of options available to characters, but you grow into them. So you don't have the analysis paralysis.
Yeah, you don't have everything at first circle. No. You the more you play, the more you get. It's very much a class / level based deal. It's not skill based. So you get new power as you get more experience, and you as a player gets more comfortable with what you're doing, and then you get new things.
The funny thing is, in this game, you don't get experience points and then gain a level. You get all of the qualifications and then you're considered that level.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
it's like testing out for martial arts.
Yeah.
I think
fake it
that's
till
what they
you make
even
it.
maybe based
Yeah.
it on.
You know, you just learn, and when you hit a certain level, you're like, okay, I guess I'm now second circle.
Yep. So,
There you go.
lot of fun to the game. Obviously, you can tell we really love it. Yeah, I think yeah, we'll look forward to that when, probably my guess, we're in middle of June. My guess is
August or September.
August,
Yeah.
September, before we hit that, because you got to consider we're going to have on average one gamer talk a month, and then whatever else. So we'll see, but that'll be plenty of time to get through it. Earthdawn isn't that it isn't written like Palladium.
No.
A lot of the stuff we know about Earthdawn comes from actually the source books.
Yeah. But Earthdawn and Palladium are both lore heavy.
Yes.
Now, in Palladium, the lore is more background. In Earthdawn, the lore more tightly affects the mechanics, or
Yes.
explains the mechanics.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. So, both of them have the like, they're all lore heavy, but they use that lore in different ways.
I'm more and more. I keep thinking about this, dude. I'm thinking about doing first edition. I know
I'm for
I know it
that.
has its problems, but
I read the fourth edition main book. I was not impressed.
it does.
I'm not saying it was horrible. I'm just saying
it's
I wasn't.
cleaner writing, and it's cleaner. Do I want to say rules? Cleaner rules application, because it's the same basic rules.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be out here. Let's ask the folks out. Well, no, they don't know the step system. Well,
They don't know.
So yeah. Well, actually, no. Here it is. Here's how we ask it. This is actually an argument in tabletop RPG circles just as a whole. Tables or intuitiveness. I will tell you that first, second, and third edition, notwithstanding third edition's ruining of the game, I like combat better because it uses a table. Why? Because that table gives me the armor defeating hit. That armor defeating hit is something that if you played Earthdawn is such a staple of the game. People love it. They don't care if they're casting a spell and it's spell defeating. They don't care if they're attacking a person and it's armor defeating, or it's always armor defeating, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. Yes! And you're sitting there because you were fighting that dude who's got 10 armor, and every time you swung, you're doing 9 damage and 12 damage and 4 damage. So twice he didn't even do damage, and one time, ooh, look at that, they did 2, whatever. You're just like, oh my God. But then you got that armor defeating hit, and you're like, yes! And you do that damage, and you roll that 14, you're like, ha, take that! And you're like, oh crap, that's a wound. People love that. It's like, there's just something about the armor defeating hit that people love. But it is a table. And there are people out there like, looking up tables sucks. Now, to be fair, I kind of memorized it over time, but no. The drawback to the table is this. If I'm doing an investigative game, I only have poor success, which basically means failure without a fumble, normal or standard, whatever it's called, good, excellent, and exceptional. So there aren't any more levels than that. That's all I can get up to. An exceptional required such an incredibly high roll, you weren't going to get it a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, with them, I gave them an extra D4 not exploding, but an extra D4 of damage anytime they rolled an exceptional hit. Because I was like, you're very rarely going to get this. They got it a couple times, but not a lot. The new version is for every 5 points over, you increase your damage by 2 steps, but they removed armor defeating. And I'm like, there's nothing special about that. Okay, I rolled a couple more, but I'm still beholden to the dice. Armor's still going to take 10 points away. It's still going to do, all this stuff.
On average, if every 5 over, I'm only doing 2 more damage. So, I'd rather get armor defeating because that would do a shit ton more damage.
Yeah. But I would rather have the +5 or the 5 for increments of things like investigation. Plus, it's I don't want to say it's more intuitive. In fact, it's not, and I found that out. But conceptually, it's more intuitive. Every 5 points, if the target number is 12, if you roll a 12, you succeed. If you roll a 17, you get a +2 steps to whatever the outcome is. If you roll 22, you get +4 steps. Like I get it. It's kind of intuitive, and you don't have to look on a table. It allows you more options. For every success, you get extra blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So things can get out of hand. But here's the problem. When Heathen Dog rolls his dice, he knows what he's rolling. He knows he's rolling step 10 to attack and step 12 for damage, or whatever it happens to be. If he gets an armor defeating hit, what step are you rolling for damage, Heathen Dog?
It's the same.
Right. He doesn't have to go, wait a minute, I'm rolling step 14 now or step 16 now? Hold on,
Okay,
what
hang on.
dice
14,
are those?
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, I'm actually rolling step 20 now.
There you go. Yeah, if you got 3 extra successes. And now
Yeah.
he has to look on the table because nobody memorizes it that far to find out what dice he's rolling. And in my experience, the players actually rolled the wrong dice 50% of the time when they had to change steps.
Yeah. And it slowed down combat.
Oh my God. In the bad way.
By a lot.
In the bad way. Because I normally will say rolling dice doesn't slow down combat. That's stupid. But in this case, it did.
It does when you have to change your dice
and you're
on
confused.
the fly.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I mean, in the old way, you have the damage written down. Step 11 damage with my strength, my skill, and this weapon, I do step 11 damage. I can have that dice right there. That will not change.
And if he's got some sort of bonus from a magical effect, or somebody put the thing in a right position for him, or he's something has given him a bonus, he still knows that even before he rolls to hit. So he's got it prepared. So even if you are, well, you can change damage. Yes, you can. But he knows it beforehand. He's not stammering like, what?
Yeah, exactly. I know the dice I'm going to roll for damage before I roll the dice to hit. And that's not going to change in first, second edition.
Or
and
third.
Probably what he says third. But in fourth, when I roll, there is a good chance that roll immediately changed my next roll. And I have to recalculate that right
on the
now.
fly.
Yeah. Which is asking for trouble, just asking for problems. It's adding complication where there doesn't need to be.
The funny thing is it's the consistency is good because it's consistent. No matter what you're rolling, it's the same process everywhere. And there are arguments out there by people saying, "Oh, looking up stuff on tables sucks." Okay, it does get rid of that, and that is a more modern game design thing. Look, Kevin Simbita, most of you guys are Palladium fans. Kevin Simbita doesn't like tables. Okay, I get it. But you can't replicate some of the awesomeness that was first edition with it. I'm not mad at Morgan and Josh for doing this. Okay, they are both long time. They both played from first edition. They listened to people's complaints. They listened to how game design has changed over time. It's one of the arguments that Sean and I get into all the time. Is Sean has a modern game design mindset, and I say fuck all that. Okay, because sometimes modern game design doesn't actually make it better. It just makes it easier, and easier isn't always better. Sorry, it just isn't. But how are you going to cater to the masses? How are you going to get the masses to play? Well, and they're a business, right? So they're going to do their thing.
Yeah,
so
you got to make money. Principals won't feed your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can just tell you from my years of experience of running Earthdawn that first, second, third edition in terms of die system is more exciting and better for the players.
It is superior overall.
Yes. Even with its weaknesses, the don't defeat the superiority. There you go. So, all right. So Polyrobotics, my game that I was writing that I basically have stopped doing at this point. I've just kind of realized there are a couple things about, I can't get the spells to work. I could easily make the game without spells and run it that way, but I want magicians in my game, or what I was considering magicians, and I cannot get the spell system to work. And so that's kind of bummed me out. Everything else, every other aspect of the game has been working, and I think it even works better than Earthdawn. But it's heavily based on Earthdawn, adding in some options from Palladium. Yes, absolutely. Some options from Palladium, mostly in the little weapons books. Those things were absolutely fantastic to help me. And Free League, Forbidden Lands, the overland, the journeying part of it, the survival aspect of it. So that's how my game is going to be built. But I got really, really, really bummed when I couldn't get the magic to work. So, that's unfortunate. So there we go. I think we've talked a lot today. There's supposed to be a shorter show. We kind of did that, not by much now, but we kind of did that. But there you go, folks who are watching the live stream live or are members later. You got a bit of extra bonus on this more than normal. So I'll let Heathen Dog walk us out of here. Words of wisdom while I get a couple of things set up, and
Okay.
we'll be done
Well, I
for
want to
today.
thank everyone for stopping by and hearing us spew nonsense and whatnot. And hey, like I said before, if there's something that you wanted us to focus on either Dead Rain or Earthdawn or Shadowrun or pretty much any other video we've done, you're like, hey, you touched on this and I don't understand. And someone else is like, yeah, I don't understand either. Well, get together with that guy and say, hey, if we both throw $5, $10, $15, and some other people throw $5, $2, whatever, it'll reach a threshold, and bam, they will make an in-depth video just on what we don't understand, a video for us. And we'll do it happily. So please, if you want to understand the basis of Earthdawn, the whole patterns, everything has a pattern. If you want to understand why that is, then throw some ducats at the dancing monkeys, which is us. And we will move our limbs to your tune. That got weird real quick, but that's what's happening. All right. So I want everyone to think about that while you're having a great day.
Because money makes us smile is what he was trying to say.